Oh my god.
All right.
I'm
Double
streaming to Twitter. It's working. I literally had to get a blue check mark. Oh my god. Fuck you, Elon. I was streaming just fine to Twitter on the $3
Oh,
tier
fuck.
for like
Zomboss
a
is almost
fucking
dead.
solid 2 weeks.
Oh, we can't let them pick
You
this
tried
point.
to price me
I almost
out
have
of it,
my
you son of
own.
a
We're
fucking
running in.
bitch. Not that poor.
My best advice for you playing Lucio, stay with me.
Fucking Elon Musk.
I thought that was you. All right.
I'm Mauga. I'm the big guy with 2 chain guns. No, we got to kill. All right. Fuck.
Oh, and I just got killed by Big Irish Nut. We're ported for that name, by the way.
Hey, people are here. Hello. I'm watching Bird play Overwatch with Bad Eater
Learn what not to do.
on Bad Eater's Twitch
No, you're
channel.
doing
Really
great.
hate my dad. Which I know you're.
We got
not
it back.
watching,
We got it
only
back.
I am.
Just kill the
But now
enemies,
you are
know?
too.
Keep them off the point.
So
We're
secretly, he's
tall
got
boys.
31
We're changing
viewers.
the story. Our hair may be sheared, but we are still as powerful as we were before.
Oh, I dyed my hair recently, too.
Oh, rock and roll. What color? Or, yeah, rock. White.
Yes, Snake 521254.
Oh,
I literally
hell
had
yeah.
to get a blue
That's
check
awesome.
mark to make
I'm
it
waiting
work
until I
again.
go like
I
real
thought
gray
that might
before
be
I
the
do
case,
that
but
shit.
it's just that it was working before without that. So
That sounds really cool.
it sucks, but it is what it is.
If it's not a strange question to ask on stream, like, what are you doing nowadays? You still in construction or?
I'm upper management.
Rock and roll. Fuck yeah, that's the job to get in. Upper management in any construction company. I had a lot of my family in that area.
Gotta
And,
pay those
they
Elon bucks
basically kept
indeed.
telling me like, well, if
Well,
you
at least
join
now I
right
can-
now, when I was like,
At least now I can justify paying for the because with the Twitter Blue, it's like a little bit off if you get it for a year, but I wasn't sure if it was actually going to fix the problem. So I just bought like a month of premium, but now I know I can go ahead and get the year pack, and I guess it'll be worth it. I guess now I can make money off of Twitter. So at the very least, these live streams, which do typically get quite a few bot views on Twitter, at the very least, all those bot views might lead to getting some revenue in the long term. But you have to have like 5 million views in the last 10 months or something like that. 5 million impressions on your Twitter before you can monetize it. And I guess I'm not there yet. I don't know how to check where I am at though. Listen to some more of this.
It's just purely Call of Duty muscle memory. Like, I've been trying to force myself to not play as him because it feels like the biggest bitch move in the world.
Like, is
Like,
there an
why-
analytics?
play Soldier 76.
I don't think that's too bad of a way to view this game, especially getting into it for the first time. But it is really helpful to learn all the heroes, or at least like the foundational heroes. I think like Soldier 76, Lucio, Mercy are all foundational heroes. It's really nice to know how they.
Oh,
work.
I can make it so you can subscribe to my Twitter. What the fuck? Are people
Mauga's
really
fun,
charging
but I've been playing this game
$239
since
for
it came out, so
a
I've
monthly
always
Twitter
really enjoyed all the different heroes
Why is
that
that
are available.
specifically the
Oh god,
top?
I need healing.
I'm right behind you.
Weird.
I'm here. I don't
I'm the big Samoan guy.
Okay.
You're probably not near me. I ran away.
I'm at B. Yeah, I see that.
Shit. This Moira is doing work. Holy shit.
Alright, got killed by
Oh no, we might have this point.
Bonus content.
Diva got 2. Yeah, no, we might have this point. We might win. Team kill. Let's go. Let's go. Team kill. Hell yeah. Lucio, part of the reason I suggested you switch to Lucio is he's really easy to just hang out with and like keep your team alive.
How do I find out how many impressions?
I like
have
Lucio
in
a
the
lot
last 3
because
months?
as it gets, as you learn how to play the game more, he's a lot more fun to play. You can do a lot more weird techniques with him. You can be a lot more DPS, I guess. Yeah, no, that's the best part of him, honestly. Oh, fuck, I'm about to die. Fuck. Our Reaper their Reaper got the healer, yeah. It doesn't seem like it. Oh, okay.
Oh, shit. Oh, man, God, okay.
Jive Turkey sucks. and by that I mean they're really good. They're a really good Moira. That's why I switched to Malga.
Dude, I listened to Farrah talk one time and immediately started doing a Borat accent.
My wife.
She said something like, what is it? When I am in the sky, you cannot touch me. I've just been doing that nonstop ever since I heard it.
Alright, we got this point. We got this fucking point. Yeah, let's go.
Staying right off.
And so past having the point, it's map control of just like taking higher points of view where you can kind of control everything better. I don't know. That's like competitive bullshit. I've never had this much fun playing quick play because usually quick play is like, oh, I'm training to be better in the competitive scene.
Weird.
This
would suggest my audience was much larger than it is. Add group name. I don't got no budget.
I don't think it would matter if you're not ranked.
Fuck that.
Honestly. I think if you're not ranked, it just.
Where do I find my
It lets
stats?
You group with whoever.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong though.
We can try it. But that being said, though, I feel like
Whatever.
I'm a lot of frustrated. Even today, I'm still like so fucking.
No, I'm cool with just doing quick play because you know I get to socially groom you into being a good Overwatch player.
Anthony Munzie asked who I want to be president. Me, but I can't run this election cycle. I don't care who becomes president this election cycle because I will undo whatever they fuck up when I get elected in 2028. So I would encourage you, don't even worry about this one. Don't even trip. Set your mind on how do I get Trixie elected in 2028. Whatever problems you have with the current president, don't worry. I'll fix it.
Yeah, good, actually. We can't endorse each other again for the next 24 hours, I think, or something like that. But yeah, I got to figure out my controls for this game again because I've been playing Souls-like games mostly, and so my sensitivity is way too high right now.
I just picked up Dark Souls 2 the other day.
Trixie versus Elon Musk 2028 will be crazy. And I think you might have just figured out who I'm running against primarily in 2028. Right now, I'm trying to achieve the moral victory over Elon Musk over the ownership of Twitter because I believe Twitter belongs more to me than it does to him. I've been on Twitter since July 2008. Okay, July 2008. This is my culture. This is my home. Elon Musk, June 2009. All right, I got here first. This man is squatting on my internet space. This man is colonializing my native land of Twitter, place of my birth. I've been using slurs on this website since before Elon Musk had an account. And now he's got me getting kicked out for a day when I call somebody cis or some shit, which apparently is a slur according to him, or cracker. I've literally had to remove tweets where I said cracker. It's fucked up. But yeah, this website should belong to me. It should not belong to Elon Musk. Now, granted, Elon has promised Twitter to Mr. Beast. You know, ex-super official CEO, as you can see, because Elon said if he dies under mysterious circumstances, Mr. B says, if that happens, can I have Twitter? Elon says, okay. Hello. I was watching you up until a minute ago.
Because we both took a break at the same time.
Oh, amazing.
Now, gang, if you think that watching whatever she's got going on here is not worth watching the sober one and the drunk asshole, which is what I'm going to call me and Kale streaming together from this point forward. Because Kale's the sober one and I'm the drunk asshole.
Kale's a month sober. You are currently
34 days.
currently shit faced.
Yeah, I will.
He's like,
continue
I'm
to
one
be.
beer away from shit faced. Yeah, thank you very much.
I'm trying to teach someone how to play Overwatch while I'm shit faced and like, well, you do this.
Mhm.
You Paris. Oh, can I? Sorry,
Yeah,
that looks
looks good.
interesting. Hmm.
Tastes like a pear cider.
Yeah, it does. Interesting. But yeah, you got to check out Really Hate My Dad on Twitch because I am there live right now playing Overwatch. Am I coming through his stream?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you're actually louder than he is.
You should tell him that. I'll tell him that. But yeah, Kale is hydrating responsibly, which I should be doing. And I'll start doing. But I'm hydrating irresponsibly. And so I'm going to chug half of this beer, which is the Slumbering Dragon Scotch Ale.
Y'all were being a lot more entertaining than I am being. I will say that. I was happy to have you playing and me not having to talk, but now I feel like I should do my show, and everybody should go over there if they want to see that show. Bird is a Zoomer, technically, right? Yes, Bird is 25 as of June. So I would say that puts him in. He was born in 1999, so I think that's the Zoomer category. Mr. Beast is, I think, the same age, or maybe a year older. I'm not sure. I think he's 26. But I think this guy's cool. I will definitely put him in my cabinet when I'm president. Mr. Beast wants to run for president, but he's too young. And there's pretty much no hope of them lowering the age for him to become president unless I get the opportunity. But I don't know if that's something the president can even do. I don't think I as president could decree that we lower the age. And it could certainly be overturned even if I did, if people didn't like that idea. But I'm just saying, I will at least make sure that when Mr. Beast becomes president, that he will be trained. I will have given him a position in my cabinet when I'm president, so that isn't something the president can do. Okay, I thought so. So yeah, I can't lower the age for him to run, but I can put Mr. Beast in my cabinet and teach him how to be president so that when he is president, he'll already know how to do the job. Something almost no other president gets. Unless they're I think the only reason Joe Biden was capable of winning is people went, well, at least he knows what the president's job is conceptually, right? Like he's been around the president. He's had a little bit of presidential training. You know, Hillary, she was trying to say that because she was with Bill, but everybody was like, yeah, but how close were you to the president though? You know, now Joe Biden, how close was he to Obama? Not very. Obama didn't even endorse his ass, but you know, the alternative was, well, I guess people just hated Trump a little bit more after actually having his president. I don't know. I shouldn't be talking about presidential politics here unless it's about me being president. I'm the only president I care about. All the other U.S. presidents could go suck a fuck. I am the main U.S. president. I'm the main character of the United States. And I don't care what happened with all the other guys. Okay. Mr. Beast's friend Chris has been getting canceled in the last 24 hours. I heard about this, and yeah, it's just a bunch of horse shit. It's nothing actual, as usual. You know. But I only heard about it because Bird told me that he saw other people talking about it, and I was like, well, if it hasn't reached me, it must not be that big of a deal. Lily should be my vice president? No. Absolutely not. She should not be anywhere near a position of power at all. She's so authoritarian. Absolutely not allowed to make any rules at all. All I'm going to do as the president is be the president. That's it. I have no further ambitions as president but to be the president. I will preside first and foremost. James Somerton will also not be my vice president. James Somerton cannot be anywhere near the government because his only reputation is being a big liar. My reputation is getting it wrong and then correcting it immediately. I'm the fastest corrector. You know, if I get something a little bit wrong, I'll fix it right away. I never make big mistakes either. Only tiny little minute errors of speech that are easily fixed. But I've never made a huge sweeping cultural mistake that sets everybody back. In fact, I've propelled culture forward plenty of times. I have, through my psychological operations, intentfully progressed culture in many directions that many people are thankful for. And I haven't even asked for praise for it. I've simply reminded people that I did it over and over again. Implicitly asking for praise. But only from a historical perspective. I just want to be in the history book. I want people to say that I popularized the concept of mass market media analysis. That's what I want to be known for historically. Want to do another Dragon Ball video today? Sure, Leaf Blady, but only if you take me through one of the apps, if you can. I don't remember if there was a reason you couldn't, but you could. You've done it before. I know you've Cash Apped me or Venmo'd me before. But I want to make sure that anybody who can do that, stays in the habit of it, because I keep a lot more of that money. And especially if you're going to pay me to watch like a big video, I'd like to keep as much of that money as possible. I finally got my Google money this morning. I immediately went grocery shopping. Walmart prices keep going up. I was shocked. I looked at my grocery cart and I said, this should be under 100. And it was like 120. And I was like, motherfucker, God damn it. There's no winning with this fucking Walmart. Anyway, a president can leverage federal programs to get states to pass amendments like age of voting or being president or drinking. I'm not gonna do any of that though. I'm just gonna preside. You know, I'm not trying to leverage. That's not presidential. Leveraging is for criminals and people that I don't want in my cabinet. I'm looking for people who know how to preside over things. People with a presidual tendency. I do have an Aldi near me, and I had been shopping there the last couple times. They don't have as much selection, so I was hoping to get some more unique items at Walmart. I also needed like shampoo and conditioner and, home shit. So I don't think they sell, literally Aldi does not sell conditioner. They sell like a shampoo conditioner combo thing, but they do not independently sell any bottles of conditioner, which is very strange. Grocery outlet bargain market. I don't think we have that in Virginia. It's not a brand out here. I could show you all the shit we got. Well, no, I don't want to dox my actual exact address. Never mind. We got a lot of little like Mexican grocery stores around here. They got some cheap stuff, but again, the cheap places don't usually have the complete selection. Walmart's where you're going, you're like, I'm low on everything, What's the worst store to go to for groceries? I'm in Europe, so I have no idea what the options are in the US. I mean, if we're talking about the quality of the groceries, Walmart might be the bottom of the barrel, although they've improved over time. Like, I feel like in the United States, just the overall quality of food has gone up, but it's also the price of food has gone up in kind. Like, people have become less tolerant of stuff that's like just total garbage, unless it's chicken, because chicken is just so endlessly edible in all forms. So like basically in the US, everything except for chicken has gotten really expensive. And meanwhile, chicken has gone on a reverse spiral of just getting cheaper and cheaper. I assume just for the sake of competing with, like, I don't know, Bill Gates is trying to personally short the entire food market by owning all the chickens and lowering the price of chickens, or not short the market, but like, basically consume all other food by being the only thing poor people can afford. Like he's the only game in town for poor people, basically, is what Bill Gates wants to be. And people will look at that as populist, but I look at that as controlling the populist, which might be the only way to keep most of them alive. And maybe they'll be grateful for it. But I just want to be in the special exceptions club. I want to be like a Spectre from Mass Effect, basically allowed to do it. I would love to be a spec op or a psyop or something. I don't want to go through traditional channels. I'd like to just be inducted for my obvious skill set into the cool club, not the cool kids club, because that's the KKK. But the club of, well, I guess the government is kind of the KKK, aren't they? Never mind. I don't want to work for the government. Fuck them. What does it mean to be a psyop? A psychological operative. You remember when the phrase "we're all in this together" suddenly became completely inescapable? That's your job. I don't want the whole. Yeah, U.S. psyops. Here we go. Psychological operations are operations used to convey selected information and indicators to audiences to influence their motives and objective reasoning, and ultimately the behavior of governments, organizations, groups, and large foreign powers. The purpose of United States psychological operations is to induce or reinforce behavior perceived to be favorable to U.S. objectives. They are an important part of the range of diplomatic, informational, military, and economic activities available to the United States. They can be utilized during both peacetime and conflict. It's funny that there's citations needed for this. I mean, they're both objectively true facts, but it's weird that they're specified here. It reads kind of like a pamphlet that they would be giving you about the psyops at the psyop base. The fuck is white psyop? Well, that must be the cool kids club. Gray psyop. This might be where I belong. I'm definitely a gray. The true source, the U.S. government, is not revealed to the target audience. The activity engaged in plausibly appears to emanate from a non-official American source or an indigenous non-hostile source, or there may be no attribution. Gray information is information whose content is such that the effect will be increased if the hand of the U.S. government, and in some cases any American participation, are not revealed. It is simply a means for the U.S. to present viewpoints which are in the interest of U.S. foreign policy. Now, that sounds like a way to get killed. What about black psyops? Can I be a black psyop, or do I got to be black? Covert psyop is not a function of the U.S. military, but instead is used in special operations due to their political sensitivity and need for higher level compartmentalization. Further, black psyop, to be credible, may need to disclose sensitive. So I could be a black psyop and not know about it, right? Like it could be that like somehow the government is sending me my opinions, knowing that I'll go and spread my opinions, but they're like inducing those opinions into me so that I won't be they won't be implicated in the spread of these opinions because I don't work for the government. But as long as I'm getting my opinions from the government psyops, I live very close to the psyop base. That's all I'm saying. It wouldn't be that hard for one of them to take a little helicopter out of their little psyop base every night and helicopter over to my neighborhood. I wouldn't be able to, there's so much military aircraft going around out here. I wouldn't be able to notice it was specifically coming to my neighborhood. So they could land their little helicopter and then they could take their guys, their FBI dudes in their like SWAT gear, and they come to my house and they just got to creep in through the window. They lift up the window and the machine, the little alarm machine will go upstairs window. That won't wake anybody up. And then they'll come into the house and they'll come over and they'll whisper into my ear, "Jujutsu Jujutsu Kaisen is good now. And then they'll like whoof, out of the air, and I like wake up and I'm like, hey everybody, Jujutsu Kaisen 2 though, right? Am I right? And then I think I had the idea, but it was actually the movie Inception. Fucking think about that possibility next time you endorse one of my opinions. This is how you know that I really am the U.S. president of the future, though. It's because the PSYOPs are the ones giving me all my information. You start as a black PSYOP, you work your way up to U.S. president. That's how Pete Buttigieg is trying to do it, and that's how I'm going to do it too. I'm taking the Pete Buttigieg route. Be gay, do PSYOPs, question mark, question mark, question mark, U.S. president. Unluckily for Pete Buttigieg, I'm going to be president first because I'm likable. And that guy is like an alien chameleon guy. He's some kind of weird, otherworldly creature. I'm normal. Dickington Post. It needs some branding. So far, my branding, I've got Trixie 2028. I will be U.S. president. If you vote for me, I will be president. If you elect me, I will be president. These are all slogans. I'll fix it. That's another one. Don't worry about it. I'll fix it. That's the full slogan. Don't worry about it. I'll fix it. I'm also an ultra artist. Thank you. I mean, we're not going to go through all my AKAs. I don't have that book I wrote them all down on in front of me. It was a long list. Ryukishio7 will be my propagandist for the campaign. Ooh. If he's interested in helping me become U.S. president for some reason, he is by all means welcome to help me out with that. I don't know what incentive Ryukishio7 as a Japanese citizen would have to reinforce my quest for U.S. president, other than being the first president who has played Umineko, which I will have done by the time I'm president. That's another good reason to vote for me. I will have played through all of Umineko no Nakakoro ni by the time I am electable. So that's pretty sick. Look at that big Pikachu.
Child knows Pocket Monsters and its star, Pakucho.
Pakucho.
Almost every Japanese child knows Pocket Monsters and its star, Pakucho.
Oh my god. Pakucho. How far can I go through my Twitter before I end up seeing pornography? Oh my god, it's me live now. I'm seeing myself. Look at this cute furry eating a pizza and playing fighting games. Look at this lady opening up her body and showing her organs. That's pretty fucking cool. This is an image. This is like something that already exists in my head. And somebody just went and drew it. It's a pretty neat unicorn. Some lesbians and dead nuns from this movie I've never seen, but looks cool. There's some pornography. Oh, yeah. This fucking album. If I could suggest that you listen to any album this year, Where the Butterflies Go in the Rain by Raveena. As I described here in my little review, heaven exists on earth. Pleasant, soft, and delicate music that nonetheless emotionally wrecked me, bawling through several whole tracks, a flawless musical experience on top of emotionally gripping. Cannot overstate, this was one of the most raw experiences I had with art in a long time. This album is a 10 out of 10, pretty much flawless. Definitely my favorite album of the year so far. I only found out about this because initially because JPEG Mafia did a feature on one of the songs from this album, Junebug, which is really odd in retrospect, especially because that being the first song I heard from her, it's like a soft kind of trippy, like laid back song not completely out of JPEG Mafia's wheelhouse, but definitely on the soft end of anything you'll ever have heard him in. Like his music is the hardest, rawest, most fucking intense, loud, abrasive, experimental music you could possibly think of. That is not at all what this is. If anything, it's the opposite. It's incredibly conventional. It sounds kind of like 70s yacht rock with an R&B slant. And it's just insanely pleasant and nice and soft. Insanely is a weird word. Unendingly, unyieldingly. It is just nothing but the nicest feelings. But the lyrics are, and you can pretty easily parse them most of the time, so it's hard to avoid hearing the lyrics. Are so just like precisely crafted to be like, ooh, like it just, whether it's good or, I won't even say, there's not really negative emotions per se, but there are moments where like the catharsis is so intense. Like there's one line where she says something to the effect of it's the song Kid, and it's about her childhood and growing up and the things that she's growing out of. And there's a line where she says something like, dropping the drugs and self-hatred, some things are better left with the kid, you know? And like, there's just a bunch of lines like that I heard, and the way she sings it, and in the context of hearing this incredibly beautiful music that lets your guard down, you know, puts you in like a good mood. And then you hear this shit that you're like, oh no, that's about me. And then the tears start coming. And yeah, I literally bawled through multiple entire songs of this record, this album. All right, now let's watch something that will definitely not make me cry. Brawly, the legendary marketing ploy. All right, we're going to learn about Brawly. Oh, hey. The fixed Lucario edit is here of me and Bird reacting to that anime snob. That's going in my clips folder. It's the other one here. No, that's the... Oh, wow, that's got 3.4K views. Hell yeah. Damn, these fucking clips. I understand why I keep getting paid to do Lily Orchard, because this is way more views than my streams even get. Just the clips of me talking about her. Okay. Brawly, the legendary marketing ploy. It's time to watch this dude talk about Dragon Ball some more. At the behest of Leaf Blady, as always.
The 8th Dragon Ball Z movie, Burn Up, Hot Fight, Fierce Fight, Super Violent Fight.
By the way, I will say this video actually has some chance of informing me, because I have not seen any of the Brawly movies. All I know about him is my impression of him is that he's a legendary marketing ploy, first and foremost. Like, I know conceptually who Brawly is, but I've never actually seen any of the movies. So this will be interesting if he goes through the whole entire history of Brawly. By the way, the full title of this video: DBD, Burn Up, Hot Fight, Fierce Fight, Super Violent Fight. So maybe this is just about one episode or one movie? Is this just about the movie that introduces Brawly? Okay, so this won't probably be the whole history. This will just be about the first Brawly film, right? I think.
Yes, it's the one with Broly, so please stop asking about it. Premiered on March 8th, 1993. Right after Cell blows himself up in the manga, and just after Mr. Satan and his gang of filler cronies get beaten up by Cell in the TV series. And that was just a week after the airing of the animated Trunks special, which we covered in December.
Oh yeah, let's real quick, for Lucario's sake, make sure that this video is in fact working, because Lucario is deaf in one ear and has no way of confirming if the audio is correctly.
We're also there, but if I could
Why is there a whole different
Avatar for...
It's correct. It is in fact correct. Thank you very much. Thank you for fixing it. Good work. Let me check the other one to make sure also, since you mention it. Yep, it is correct.
Production-wise, this movie marks a shift from longtime character designer Maeda Minoru serving as animation supervisor to Yamamuro Tadayoshi taking over in that capacity, a role he would continue to serve in all Dragon Ball theatrical movies through 2015's
Big ass Master Roshi is such a fucking mood.
Resurrection F. I'm sure I'll have more to say about him in the future, but for now, this movie looks pretty good, and I'd say it's a step up from the last two movies at least. Now let's talk about these Dragon Ball Z movies. When I was in my early years of exploring the franchise, they, like most elements of the series outside of the Saiyan and Frieza arcs, were a mystery to a lot of us. All we had to go on were the words of wise and worldly people who had actually managed to see these coveted treasures, spoken in a foreign language and housed on multi-generational traded VHS tapes with poor tracking. And I would soon become one of those people, handing over my heart.
I'm like really trying to remember if these were like the first. I've seen a couple of them. Like, I know I saw part of the first movie on TV, and then I think like the third one, and then whatever is Cooler's Revenge. I've seen like a few of them that my cousin had like rented from Blockbuster or something at the time, early into us watching anime films together. And I appreciated them because of the fact that they don't really require any context to understand. But at the same time, it always just feels like a super short version of an arc from the show. And it's interesting because it takes away all the problems that the show supposedly has of like how long-winded it is. But you don't get emotionally invested in the same way that you do when it has this long, complex, convoluted like arc going on. So I think these movies kind of help people to appreciate the main show even more, because it's like, while this is a nice treat, it also makes you realize that like Dragon Ball needs that length. It needs the epicness, because it doesn't cut it with just like introducing a guy and kicking his ass in 2 hours and looking cool,
Earned cash to my mom, so she could convert it into
2 hours, 70 minutes.
a money order that I could mail to some guy in Hawaii who would, in turn, send me a shipment of tapes with episode numbers scrawled onto the plastic casing. They opened wide my Dragon Ball experience far beyond what little was available for purchase in America at the time. I was more interested in expanding my knowledge of the series, though, so I never bothered trying to track down the movies back then. For movie info, I had to rely on the webmasters of fan sites, and PlanetNomic.com was number one. No, seriously, it was number one. There was a ranking system and everything, and PlanetNomic was always number one. I have many, many memories of my visits to that site circa 2000, but I do remember their movie guide, which...
This is how I know I wasn't enough of a Dragon Ball fan, because like this is my era of internet, but I'd never heard of this website. You bring me to a Yu-Gi-Oh forum, or you bring me to the Pokemon website, then I'll know what's going on.
Listed all 13 of the Dragon Ball Z movies and provided not only synopses, but a Dragon Ball rating system from 1 to 7 balls.
Bulbapedia.
At the time, only the first 3 movies had aired on Cartoon Network, and I had thought they were pretty enjoyable. But according to PlanetNomic, they were mediocre at best compared to... And I had thought
Let me
the
go
7
back,
balls
actually.
movies and provided not only synopses, but a Dragon Ball...
Okay, yeah, I definitely... Ultimate Decisive Battle for Earth was the first one I saw, and I remember thinking it was like kind of mid, but that it had cool music, because they would put like a bunch of fucking new metal in these movies, which is really funny. Me and my cousin were fans of those bands, so we were always like jamming. They're like playing Disturbed, but it always felt really weird in the context of the movie. And it would always be like 30 seconds, of some massively popular song.
Ball rating system from 1 to 7 balls. At the time, only the first 3 movies had aired on
Dickington Post, why do you need money to pretend forums are real again? Specifically.
Cartoon Network, and I had thought they were pretty enjoyable. But according to PlanetNomic, they were mediocre at best compared to a lot of what was to come. And that got me really excited because... What? They listed Dragon Ball Z Movie 6 as the best of the lot? And number 7 is the second best? What, were they insane? Over the following years, as the remaining movies became commercially available,
Well, I'm
I was
fucking
able to
Piccolo.
form my own opinions, and if you've been following this series for any length of time, you'll know that I'm of the mind that after the first 3, the quality careened into a nosedive with
To make
only
my own and
movie
integrate
5
it with stupid
possessing a
RPG service, you can make free forums. Like a lot of those free forum building sites are still out there. I've made a number of free forums. Now, granted, it won't be like aesthetically pleasing, but I guess if you're trying to say you want money because you want to build like a really specific forum, that's different. But you can definitely do it for free.
marginal level of quality. The last one we checked out, movie 7, was the absolute bottom of the barrel as far as I'm concerned, filled with formulaic story beats, by-the-numbers character interactions, and tepid derivative villains. And that would be bad enough if not for the fact that we'd already seen most of those attributes done half a dozen times before. Now, let me be clear. I'm mostly apathetic towards the character of Broly. I'm neither particularly interested in him, nor do I really dislike him. I'm a little iffier in regards to what he seems to represent to the fandom, and more importantly, the image he presents of the franchise as a whole. As I've stated multiple times, the surface-level spectacle of over-muscled meatheads screaming loudly and laying the smackdown on each other is the facet of Dragon Ball I find least appealing. And since original Broly is the most roided out, primal screaming animalistic club someone over the
Yeah, when he said that last time, I was like, it's a weird aspect to have as your least favorite because so much of the show is that. But these movies do show how that's not enough. Like whether you like, I still think the movies are like at least decently cool from an aesthetic perspective. Like if that is at all a part of what you like about Dragon Ball, these movies will give you some of that. But yeah, they do definitely reveal how much that is not the point ultimately of Dragon Ball.
head caveman the franchise has ever produced, I don't get the hype. His repeated appearances and vast popularity just encapsulate for me Dragon Ball's decline from an over-the-top pastiche of martial arts movie tropes to a professional wrestling match played completely straight. Sorry if you like professional wrestling, nothing personal. I've learned there's a lot of overlap between
Gary always, thanks for defining apathetic, dude. 4 seconds, I'll never get back.
those two fandoms. I had a brief pro wrestling phase as well when I was 3, but it just hasn't really done it for me in the past 3 decades since. And since I know at least one person will think this unless I say otherwise, please do not read anything into Mr. Satan's appearance in this gag. It's nothing more than a visual representation of the point I'm trying to make. You know, because he's a sports combat champion. I am not implying that he is an example of what I'm talking about.
I just say my favorite thing about Toriyama's art that I feel like no one has ever copied to the extent that like he did it is just how super deformed his characters are. Like he almost doesn't draw them with the same proportions twice. It's wild. I guess it changes a little bit as he goes because when he starts drawing guys as like bigger muscly dudes, it's a little harder to like make them like deliberately wonky, but stuff like this, where like his head is preposterously huge and his proportions are all just weird, but it works. Like he's not trying to be accurate. He's trying to make the composition work, and the anatomy bends to the composition. And like, it's surprising how few people do that to the extent that he does it, you know?
All that said, though, movie 8 is a vast improvement over movie 7. It literally had to be. There's almost no way it could have been any worse. To me, it seems like Koyama Takao, the writer of all the previous Dragon Ball Z movies, realized just what a formulaic hole he'd made for himself, and I'm hoping the audience overall felt the same way. So this one is different, to an extent. There are still some of the same gimmicks on display, but
Lucario, you said one artist who I think I've seen do the same thing as Takahiro Kimura. He'll draw his scenes from his shows, Brigadoon Geass, from wildly different proportions, giving characters huge heads. That sounds interesting. I guess I'd have to see his scene specifically to know what you mean. Geass is a good example of tremendous unintentional inconsistency as well. And I think about Clamp, the Clamp artists are fascinating to me. I'm not going to go too deep into this Clamp rabbit hole, but like their designs, like there's certain things about them that make them really gorgeous, and then other aspects that make them seem really generic. Maybe this is true of a lot of anime. I guess Toriyama is another good example. You know, like the characters all kind of look the same, but they all look really cool, so it's hard to be like upset about it. But like with Clamp, something about their designs, I guess it's just really hard to draw them consistently because with like very few exceptions. No, I shouldn't say there's any exceptions. Sometimes they're drawn inconsistently, but always good. Like in Cardcaptor Sakura, like the characters look different in different episodes, but they're always gorgeous because they've really, I don't know, spent their time on it. But you watch like Holic or Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicle and like just look at the art like moment to moment, episode to episode, it's just like totally fucking different. The characters are constantly changing and it's definitely not intentional. So yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just really hard to draw Clamp characters consistently. And Code Geass was closer to the Cardcaptor Sakura side of like it's inconsistent, but it usually looks good. You know, it wasn't like totally wonky the way Reservoir Chronicle was, but yeah.
But this one feels like it's gotten a shot in the arm and can traverse new territory, even have a bit more plot than the movies have provided over the past couple of years. Interrupting the usual relaxation and wacky hijinks that begin these movies is the arrival of a spaceship, filled to the brim with random faceless soldiers claiming fealty to Vegeta. Leading these guys is a Saiyan named Paragus, who states that he has set up a new planet Vegeta for Vegeta to rule over as their king. Oh,
Leaf Blady, I'm going to look up this Clamp drawing of Saber you're talking about. Nope, not a Clamp. Oh, this one, I'm guessing. I like how I typed Clamp Saber and the first results were like a Saber brand Clamp. God damn it, give me a good looking version of these. There we go. Yeah, check that out. The sword looks fucking awesome. Yeah, the way they drew, like just something about the way they drew the really hard lines on her armor and on the sword makes it look like just heavy and badass in a way that it rarely does in illustration. It definitely made her armor look sick. Also, all this ornate shit up top looks cool too.
Oh, and the legendary Super Saiyan has been laying waste to the Southern Galaxy and needs to be stopped. So the characters head to this new planet where Vegeta teams up with Paragus' mild-mannered son Broly to track down the legendary Super Saiyan. Meanwhile, Goku has already been recruited by Kaio to find out what's been going on in the Southern Galaxy, which eventually leads him to new Vegeta as well. But when Broly's unyielding instinctual rage towards Goku causes him to break free of Paragus' control and fight, they realize that he was the legendary Super Saiyan all this time. Paragus' whole spiel was a trap to get Vegeta on this planet, which is about to be destroyed by a comet, in order to avenge himself against Vegeta's father, who tried to
That's
have
a pretty
both him
clever
and
trick.
Broly killed due to Broly's massive strength
Lure somebody onto a planet that's about to be destroyed. That's a great idea.
posing a threat to King Vegeta's line. So they fight for a very, very, very long time. Vegeta
I might have seen the first episode of the Holic live action in like 2007, but I don't remember for sure. I feel like I probably did. Because that was back, my homie from high school used to watch all those, and he tried to show them to me sometimes, but I was pretty resistant to anything live action, even if it was an anime adaptation back then.
has a massive internal breakdown, but ultimately Goku is able to save the day and get everyone off the planet in the nick of time. Well, it certainly wasn't as easy to summarize the plot as it has been for the last few movies. It's a lot longer than any Dragon Ball film had been
that's a cool ass shot.
up to that time. Every DB movie up to this point had run between 45 minutes and an hour. This one clocks in at a whopping 71 minutes. Okay, yeah, that's still pretty weak for a movie, but by Dragon Ball movie standards, this is the Lord of the Rings. That's definitely a good sign. I remember being excited when I picked up the DVD and read that on the back. Just think of how much awesome storytelling they can pack in with the extra time, right?
Is it? Wait, I legitimately, my brain for a second told me that this was that fucking Goblin anime, that new, not Goblin Slayer, but the one where the guy is a goblin. That like weirdly homoerotic, saliva-focused goblin anime, saliva fetishist goblin anime. And then I thought, like, wait, that didn't look this good though. Or old.
Just think of how much awesome storytelling they can pack in with the extra time.
Yes, Remonster, that's the one. Yeah, my brain told me for a second that this is Remonster, and then I realized that this looks good, and Remonster does not.
Right? There are a lot of great ideas here, and the setup is much more complex than here are some.
I love the Saiyan underwear man wrestler aesthetic.
Strong guys to fight. Go fight. The history of Paragus and Broly elicits sympathy, and it's understandable why Paragus wants revenge. Much more
Like, why aren't there cosplays of this dude? Why have I not seen anybody dressed as this dude in real life before? Maybe because there's not a lot of guys built like this, but if you know like a big, strong dude who does cosplay, fucking put him onto this.
complex than, here are some strong guys to fight. Go fight. The history of Paragus and Broly elicits sympathy, and it's understandable why Paragus wants revenge as well as the necessity for keeping his son's power under control. The impetus for the conflict sheds light on the barbarism of Saiyan society, both in its obsession with fighting and even more so on its class system. Being a gifted warrior is all well and good until it threatens those in charge. King Vegeta's reaction to Broly is not dissimilar.
Fucking Vegeta with a goatee. I can't. I know it's not literally Vegeta, but it's just Vegeta with a goatee, and it's like that's his dad. He's got like a blue goat. It's the stupidest goatee. I hate how I hate this like odd bushy tilt because it looks like it just looks like Vegeta wearing a fake goatee. It doesn't look like it's growing out of his face. Like
from Frieza's reaction to the Saiyans. Oh yeah, King Vegeta. This is a little bit out of order, so we
GT Vegeta with the stash was different. That felt a lot more natural than this.
We haven't been introduced to him yet. Vegeta's father, the King, is mentioned in passing by Frieza in his story arc. The TV series expands on that, presenting a sequence wherein we actually see this character in flashback, leading an unsuccessful coup against Frieza, and
his beard was definitely brown back then, and hair for that matter.
He's popped up a couple other times in similar flashbacks and visions.
This time, it's two different shades of... They really didn't draw him with the same colors ever twice, I guess.
It's no surprise that a movie so focused on Saiyan society includes this character as well. With all of these juicy morsels of information tied into its portrayal of relatively sympathetic villains, it's easy to see why this movie is often well regarded. Unfortunately, there is a problem. To say the revealing of this information stumbles a bit is akin to saying that the Beatles were a mildly successful pop group. I honestly find the movie much more interesting in synopsis than I do actually watching it. And that's largely because a lot of the story beats are backstory. Where did Paragus and Broly come from?
That Beatles joke was such a nostalgia critic joke. And he really... I think stuff like that, you really have to... Like, Nostalgia Critic will tell you, like, the dumbest dad joke, but he'll do it in such a unbelievably over-the-top fashion that you kind of cringe laugh at it. And, like, I feel like this guy, he kind of no-sells it, you know? Like, he told that joke like it was supposed to be clever or witty, and it's like, well, it's not. It's just kind of like a thing. Like, it feels like a time waster to me, you know? Like, it's just in there to be in there.
What is their relationship?
He didn't sell it as comedy.
Does Paragus want revenge? What is his game? Is he on the level? Why is he smirking like that when Vegeta's back is turned? Like with Cell, this story is set up as a mystery. And like with Cell's situation, the writer can't come up with a better way of delivering on said mystery than just having characters vomit exposition. We gotta hurry up and get to the fighting after all. In fact, in some ways, it's actually worse. There are two big info dump scenes in this movie, and the first one is Paragus expositing to himself. He goes into a locked room and proceeds to tell himself everything he already knows. He's not even just imagining these scenarios, he is literally
The dude sure knows how to maintain a pose.
Explaining it to himself. That's about as bad as you can get with exposition delivery. The second set he does give to Vegeta, so at least he's telling someone who actually needs to hear the story. But that's still a pretty pedestrian way to deliver it, just monologue it. Also, it's only to Vegeta, so Vegeta is the only character over the course of the entire movie who has the slightest idea what's going on. And since he only got the second half, none of them really knows the whole story. Now, when I complained about Cell blabbing all the details of his backstory, many commented that I wasn't being fair. That just because I thought it should be a mystery doesn't mean that that was the story Toriyama wanted to tell. But I'm not the one saying it should be a mystery, they are. They're the ones setting up the puzzles here. If I go to a restaurant and my server puts a cake in front of me, I expect that I'm going to be able to eat it. Likewise, if a story presents me with a mystery, a series of questions that need answers, which this movie very much does, I don't think I'm asking too much for those answers to be delivered in a satisfying way. The first Kula movie is also a revenge flick, but it's set up in a totally different way. All the answers are laid out from the very beginning, there's no mystery. But in this case, there is, and the entire first half of the movie is dealing with it. As far as
Man, I forgot how good looking fucking Trunks was. What a handsome ass little fucking motherfucker.
Mystery of the legendary Super Saiyan, only Goku gets to actually figure anything out. He follows the trail of battered planets until he gets here, and he's the one who realizes that Broly is who they've been looking for. But even that's thrown into Goku's lap. He figures it out because Broly attacks him while he's sleeping, which gives the entire game away. Forget what Dark Helmet said, good will always triumph because evil is dumb. Now, don't misunderstand me to mean that I'm against the idea that the goals of two villains being out of alignment could cause their plans to go awry. I just think in this case, it leaves very little for the heroes to really figure out. As far as actually investigating goes, Gohan, Trunks, and Krillin get the most to do, although it resolves itself in a fairly ludicrous way. They discover these Shamo inhabitants are being used as slave labor to construct a fake city to fool them. And that whole thing is weird. The planet is named Shamo, but so is the kid, but then again, so is Vegeta, but I doubt this kid is either royalty or the strongest, so who knows. Anyway, they fly over these ruins that are being used to give the impression of a sprawling metropolis, then they meet the workers. They fight off the brutal overseer.
I realized that, like, there's not a lot of people in, like, American English who are named things like Earth or Land. But I don't think it's totally weird to, like, name someone something like that. And I'm sure there are languages that have people with names that basically just mean, like, the world. You know? Sekai, actually, in Japanese, I don't know if there's a lot of people with that name, but I'm sure I've seen it used at least as an anime name before.
But then Paragus shows up, clearly aware that this exists, and invites everyone to dinner, and nobody seems to care. Gohan delivers some food to the Shamo, but
I don't know, maybe it's weird because, like, well, I don't know, people are named after all kinds of, like, concepts that come up in everyday conversation. Like, I know somebody named Hope and somebody named Faith. You know, like, I don't think it'd be too weird to know somebody named fucking Planet. It's just that we don't have, like, a cute word that means the world in English. World is a weird name. Earth is a weird name. Planet's a weird name. But it's just because none of them sounds good as a name. It's not because of what they mean, you know? That's why I think, like, I thought of Sekai because, like, well, that would be a good name, you know? Oh, it's that guy, Sekai. Enough.
The characters seem to see no conflict of interest
Terra,
themselves
thank
with
you,
both the
Gary. Terra, thank you. Classic. Terra literally just means Earth.
downtrodden slaves and their vicious slavers at the same time. It's only immediately after Goku blows the lid off the whole legendary Super Saiyan thing that Trunks and the others show up to point fingers. Oh yeah, there are all these slaves and ruined buildings that we already knew about.
Leaf Blady mentioning Pluto. That's an interesting one because when I think Pluto, there's like a dog named Pluto in Disney, right? And I think because of that, it's been relegated to a dog name as opposed to a person name. But it would be a good person name. And obviously, there's the anime, the Tezuka character. Maria equals C. I did not know that. Huh. Wow. That explains why that name has been able to have such a worldwide hold. Because, I mean, what is literally, it's the fucking source of all life. Even like from a scientific perspective, you know, not even from a religious perspective. Fascinating. Maybe that's just genetic memory calling us all home.
Did these scenes get placed out of order or rewritten at the last minute or something? Everybody already knew this stuff, and Paragus knew they knew this stuff and didn't care. Why does it suddenly matter now? When the Shamo are ferried over, they do recognize Broly as the Super Saiyan who laid waste to their planet, so they do corroborate Goku's statement. However, in Trunks' very last scene, he states that Broly couldn't be the legendary Super Saiyan. It is possible that after Goku...
Damn, long hair. When Bird had his shoulder-length hair, he definitely could have done a Teen Trunks cosplay. You have to get like stupid cut because Trunks look like he has 3% body fat, but nonetheless, Bird's got that energy, that air.
Figured it out. He had them bring the Shamo for a dramatic reveal, but it still doesn't make the rest of it add up to anything other than ignoring pertinent information until it's narratively convenient. To give credit where it's due, though, the way Goku reveals what he knows is done pretty well and very much in keeping with his character. He's not the blank slate, you're the hero guy he was in movie 6. Tensions are rising, Paragus is trying to keep Vegeta on the planet because this is the day the comet is supposed to comet, but Vegeta is intent on searching for the legendary Super Saiyan. Broly gets triggered by Kakaroto, his favorite word, because Goku is in the spaceship having fun listening to the sounds of his echoes. Because he's really just killing time until he can casually say, "Oh yeah, I figured this all out. He's a legendary Super Saiyan." He can be a fun, cocky bastard when he wants to be. This is also the point of the movie where it shifts into fighting mode, which lasts way too long. As much as I pick on the ham-fisted...
This is the one where one of them gets punched in the dick, right?
...storytelling, I'd take it over a 40-minute curb stomp. To be certain, by the time I finished watching this movie for the first time, I was beginning to regret its extra long runtime because it was just getting tedious. So let's talk Legendary Super Saiyan, since it's a term that gets thrown around a lot in this movie and in Dragon Ball in general. That's the whole draw here, that Broly is the Legendary Super Saiyan. It's something we as kids were talking about in awe years before the movie ever came out over here, before Super Saiyan had come out over here. It helped that the toys were released way out of order. There was this character named Broly, and he was not only a Super Saiyan, but he was the Legendary Super Saiyan. What does that mean? I don't know. He's really strong. He has this ultra beefy transformation that's not bad like the other really beefy Super Saiyan transformation. The movie doesn't really provide any information on that other than that Broly's power is overflowing, and his battle power was 10,000 when he was an infant. Don't get me wrong, I have no problem with the movie exploring this idea, but the way it's done is just weird, because nobody ever questions this. Oh, they question whether or not Paragus is telling the truth, if the legendary Super Saiyan really is causing trouble, but no one questions the concept, not even Vegeta. The whole legendary Super Saiyan thing came up in the Frieza arc. It's practically synonymous with Super Saiyan in general. When Vegeta sees Goku take out Recoome, he thinks that's what Goku is. The warrior of legend that shows up once every 1,000 years. And then he believes that's what he is. And then eventually Goku transforms into this gold guy and everybody says it's a Super Saiyan. And then other people become Super Saiyans. The term Densetsu no Super Saiyajin is thrown around like candy. The chapter after Goku transforms is literally called that. So then this guy shows up and says that the legendary Super Saiyan is out there, and not a single one of them is ever like, and? What does that mean exactly? How is that different from what we are? Isn't that what we're supposed to be? I suppose it doesn't help that the term is used.
I do think that's a good point. It kind of raises... I don't think they should have questioned it so much as that it should have at least been pointed out that maybe he's not that legendary Saiyan, because nobody even knew you could go Super Saiyan, but hey, now we've got multiples of them already, yeah, definitely there should have been more of a conversation about the concept of this guy being the ultimate one, because regardless of being born with the highest power level or whatever, I feel like thematically the existence of Broly should be to suggest that being born, like being the person who's got the most naturally high power level, doesn't make you the ultimate warrior. The ultimate warrior is the person who does what Goku does. Goku's the ultimate, that is what the movie ultimately proves, right? So like, I get thematically why like they would accept the idea that Broly is he is the most innately powerful Saiyan, but that doesn't make him therefore the ultimate warrior. But maybe they just thought he would be until proven otherwise, or maybe Goku in the back of his head from the start is just like, we'll see, oh, he's the ultimate warrior, all right, okay, well, so if I beat him, that makes me the ultimate warrior though, right? Like the ultimate warrior wouldn't be able to lose to me. So So surely I'm about to go lose to the Ultimate Warrior. Oops, I beat him. Well, so what does that make him exactly? Maybe he did say earlier, Goku can be a lovable asshole or whatever phrasing he used.
Used interchangeably as a label for both the specific transformation as well as the character. And I'm not saying that's a problem. They shouldn't do a plot where someone is saying, no, he's really the Super Saiyan of Legend and you're not. The problem is, that's not what they do. The characters just accept it and nobody treats it like it's a big deal, as if it's something they expected would happen someday. Think of all the times I've talked about how the characters really make a lot of assumptions about what happens to them in regards to their transformations. None of them has anything to go off of. Despite the fact that not even Vegeta knows what a Super Saiyan looks like, since he's constantly mistaking himself and Goku for Super Saiyans before it happens, they always seem pretty confident that that's what they are. Wouldn't it have been cool if they actually played?
I mean, if you had heard that there is supposedly like a ascended version of a Saiyan, and you thought maybe you were seeing that up until a moment where like they suddenly go blonde, and then you're like, oh, that's obviously what the thing is. But at the same time, we've now reached like what, Super Saiyan God mode. Maybe that's what the legend was about. Like, it's entirely possible that 50,000 years ago in Super Saiyan, in Dragon Ball Z's universe, there were Super Saiyan 4s running around all over the place. Kind of like how in Doctor Who there was a planet of Time Lords. Like there was a ton of Doctor Who's out there, but then most of them got killed. So now we just got the one. Like maybe there's a similar situation here where like we're regrowing to a culture that once was of like Super Saiyan gods running around, and like this is so long ago that there's not any history of it.
With that, for them to be told that they've been wrong.
I don't know if that what I just said is contradicted at any point. I haven't seen any of Dragon Ball Super. I know that the lore has gotten like way more complicated through that show. I have not seen any of it. I've never had any of it explained to me. I have no idea what happens in Dragon Ball Super.
On this whole time, even if it was just a lie, it'd be interesting to see them grapple with that idea, particularly Vegeta. What we do have for Vegeta is his complete emotional breakdown once he sees Broly in action. I mean, it's not the first time we've seen Vegeta completely lose his will to fight, but it's still fun to see, especially given where we are in the series right now, where Vegeta has such a self-sabotaging level of confidence. In a way, this feels a bit more like Frieza arc Vegeta, but with a twist. While he wanted to become a Super Saiyan and often believed he was, in that one moment, happy to pass the torch to Goku just as long as it meant Frieza was defeated by a Saiyan. But in this case, the Super Saiyan of Legend is someone who is now mopping the floor with all of his allies, and Vegeta can do nothing but stare as he now lives through exactly what he wanted to put his enemies through. I still think it might have worked better had he been reacting to the idea of a legendary Super Saiyan not being him, rather than just accepting that as commonplace, but it's still pretty fun. The one way in which this movie stubbornly clings to the formula is with Piccolo, naturally, who does not show up in this movie until it's time for the prerequisite saving of Gohan moment. This one seems particularly forced. Broly has everyone's back to a wall, and then out of nowhere, he decides to attack Gohan specifically. I guess just so Piccolo will have a reason to show up. To another planet. At least in movie 6 he came with them. Here he just brought his own spaceship. That he has. Somehow. And he knew about this because he heard Kaio talking, apparently. Okay. Well, I mean, there is precedent. I guess Kaio really needs a more secure channel. That done, he goes and drags Vegeta back to the fight, and that's pretty much his thing for the movie. Now that Vegeta has been returned to the battle, he becomes a Final Fantasy villain by spouting lines like, "Why do you fight, even when you know you can't win?" That's my second Final Fantasy reference in a Dragon Ball Z movie review in a row. If I do 3, I get a free ice cream. He finally overcomes his paralysis, because I guess we've reached that point in the movie where
that was another
to
total nostalgia
really,
critic joke that once again doesn't work when your face isn't on screen to like
but,
do the
you already
goofy
saw him
bit,
fighting before and it didn't make a difference. And when he does fight, well, quite a lot of build-up for nothing, isn't it? Well, not entirely. Here's where I get to the infamous part of the movie. I've alluded to the fact that Broly has it out for Goku in particular. The only interaction they have prior to the events of this movie is in flashback. Apparently, when they were born, they had beds right next to each other, and Goku's incessant crying also caused Broly to cry. And ever since then, he just can't stand the guy. I mean, I know I get cranky when someone keeps me from sleeping. And so I see this movie derided for it having a meathead villain whose only motivation is that Goku made him cry that one time. Funnily enough, this presents
I
the
actually
opposite
think that's
problem of what I said.
fucking brilliant. I think that's a brilliant idea because I think the point of this is to suggest that this man has not grown since he was an infant. He has not emotionally matured at all since this moment. His entire life is defined by the fact that even though he feels that he, physically he is the strongest, he's like the god mode emperor. Ultimately, emotionally, he was victimized by Goku. He's never gotten over it. He's Homelander from The Boys, just like the most powerful, most insecure, most infantile person. And like they pushed that to a comical extreme by having them be literal babies. But I think that's what makes it memorable, that like the guy who's supposed to be this like unyielding terror, the greatest threat they've ever faced. And like he's literally offended over the dumbest, babyest reason. But like what else would it be? What other problem would he ever have had in life that he didn't just solve by crushing it with his fist? This is the one thing he never got vengeance for. And he's been bothering him since he was a fucking baby. It's really funny.
Earlier, my synopsis of the plot sounded better to me than how it was actually executed. However, summarizing this doesn't really do it justice because taken on its face, it does sound silly. But the literal interpretation isn't the point, at least as far as I see it. And the point isn't even hidden. There are two off-screen voices watching the event, and they pretty much spell it out. Broly has a battle power of 10,000. Even as an infant, he's so strong that, well, on paper he's as strong as the Bardock who steamrolled through a couple of hundred of Frieza's soldiers while on the brink of death. This Kakaroto has a battle power of 2. According to Saiyan Society, Broly is so above him it's unbelievable. And yet, for some reason, this little worthless crotch nugget can still get under his skin. Why is that? Paragus tells Vegeta that the reason he alone is incapacitated by Broly's presence is because as a pure Saiyan raised in their ways, he is the only one who can recognize on an instinctual level the threat that Broly poses. Likewise, Broly can instinctually pick up on the potential and danger of Goku's.
This is interesting to me as well because it's kind of paralleling what happened with Frieza, and a lot of this is, but the idea that Vegeta has this instinct baked into him to there's a concept called Gestalt psychology, right? The collective thought. The Gestalt is like when everybody kind of thinks the same thing, there's certain, like right now in the US, like everybody kind of agrees that the rent is too damn high. It's just so true in so many places that it's something that you could go to anybody, literally walk up to any random person in the country and be like, rent's too damn high. And they're going to be like, I know, right? A mimetic field. Sure. Yeah. Memes are heavily dependent on Gestalt psychology. They are so much so that oftentimes they are considered the representative of whatever is trending as memes. That is what culture is most defined by right now, is what are the memes, because they are so reliant on instant recognition, instant connection between everybody, so Vegeta, Prince of the Saiyans, he was raised in their culture, right? So is Vegeta much older than Goku or what? Because Goku's a baby when the planet got destroyed. how was Vegeta raised? Like, is it just he was raised with the survivors and just continued being like a Saiyan? I guess I don't know enough about Vegeta's backstory. But the idea that like being Prince of the Saiyans and being raised in their culture, he is so keyed in to the feelings of the Saiyans that like, you know, when he sees somebody who he knows has killed tons of his people, he's like goes into this like catatonic state about it, you know? It's like I'm trying to think if there's any kind of creature a human could encounter that would make them feel this way, but humans have never been like mass genocided by anything other than other humans, you know? But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. It's an interesting psychological concept to explore. The idea that like he just has like a culture shock almost at like realizing that something is stronger than not only him but everybody from his culture has ever been, a culture that entirely identifies by being the strongest. And so like having an existential threat is such a threat to their identity that it like shuts off their mind, you know? And Goku just doesn't see it that way. He's like, well, nothing's an existential threat to actually, I don't think he understands the concept of an existential threat. I think he sees something as a threat and he goes, I'm going to punch that thing until it's not threatening me anymore. And that's as far as his thought goes.
Superiority. To me, it ties right back into that Goku and Vegeta speech I love so much, only turned on its head. Because while there is the upset of the low-born cast-off overcoming the elite, think about their lives. This isn't some pampered prince used to getting everything his way being beaten up by a bumpkin. Unlike Vegeta, Broly didn't get rewarded for his magnificent potential. He was stabbed and left for dead and forced to struggle his entire life. And then his great strength and his free will were caged by his father. Goku, by contrast, was sent to a crap planet because that's all he was good for, but lived the good life by comparison. He got to run free, have a positive upbringing, meet all kinds of strong influences, have great adventures. These are obviously all things Broly doesn't know about Goku, but my point is, there's a lot more to it than Goku crying one time and making Broly upset. The characters' lives and temperaments are diametrically opposed in pretty much every way, and that moment encapsulates it. That brings me back to Vegeta because at the end of the film, he demonstrates how he is different from and therefore superior to Broly. In the comparisons I was just making, I was subbing in Broly for Vegeta, and they do fulfill similar roles in their respective stories. They both certainly feel a ceaseless need to butt heads with Goku. Once Vegeta is taken out of the fight, and in Dragon Ball movie fashion, it's all up to Goku to save the day, everyone decides to give Goku their ki. And you know, for once, I'm not going to complain about that, because in this case, the underlying idea it represents is more important. Everybody but Vegeta contributes. Vegeta cannot bring himself to actively assist Goku in this manner. It would effectively demonstrate that Goku is superior and that Vegeta's only role is subservience. Broly likewise cannot allow himself to yield to Goku. He is drawn to compete against him, to prove his superiority. It's only when Vegeta concedes that the tide turns in their favor and Goku is able to defeat him. Like the tree that bends to the will of the wind, Vegeta accepts what must be done. Broly is the tree that remains rigid against the wind and so must shatter. Funnily enough, I have to once again say the movies kind of beat Toriyama to the punch here by pushing Vegeta a bit further along in his character development than he is in the series. It feels like I've already gone on for forever, but let's see, what else is there? Broly ultimately gets to commit patricide. That's kind of fun, and a fitting end. Paragus tries to escape the planet before it's destroyed, but Broly finds him and crushes him to death in his own escape pod. It's a very effective moment, although I think it would have been more so had Paragus not added in this out-of-place Shakespearean, alas, is it the fate of Saiyans to be killed by their children as he's being crushed to death?
Just this image reads to me as they were trying to do Akira. You know, the when Tetsuo crushes his girlfriend to death in his massive flesh in Akira, pretty haunting, memorable scene that I have seen copied many times. And this is definitely reads as one of those.
Exit, pursued by a bear. Oolong and Kame Sennin serve as the comic relief this movie. Oolong even makes it onto the movie poster. I told you way back in Z Movie 2 that Oolong gets much more attention in the movies than he ever does in the series by this point. Kame Sennin's shtick is that he's drunk. That's pretty much it. I don't even know how that works. He had been drinking at the beginning of the movie, but they traveled through space. And I know space travel tends to be fast in this series, except when it's not. But even discounting that, they spend at least 2 days on New Vegeta. How long does it take for him to sober up? The other opportunities for comedy are the 2 leisure activities at the start of the film. The stronger is Chi-Chi's
Absolutely
attempts to get Gohan
adorable
into a prestigious cram
uniform.
school, and for that she needs Goku
Cram
to present
school?
himself
How
as
old
her
are they
version of the
supposed to
ideal
be?
husband and father,
Cramming
forcing him
for
into a suit and coaching him to state that his
college?
hobbies are reading and sports, to which Goku hilariously asks if this is supposed to be a fibbing contest. While, as usual, these leisure activities don't really tie into the plot or themes of the film at all, this movie really nails down the characterization much better than the empty
I
vessels
had
of
no
movie
idea
6
there was a
and the caricatured
moment
abusive
in
Chi-Chi
any
in
version
movie
of
7.
Dragon Ball Z
Playing the role of a typical family is
where
central
they
to
were
Chi-Chi's
seen in like a
self-image, and with
traditional
Goku able to play a more
Japanese school
active role than
environment.
simply carrying the packages, their interplay here is golden, and you actually do feel for Chi-Chi when Goku is forced to bail out. Yes, he is a magician! Granted, I
Oh,
don't think
cram
Gohan had
school
much of
for
a chance getting into
Gohan. That
this
makes a
school
lot
when the
more
lead
sense.
adjudicator appears to be the announcer from the Cell games.
Still weird to see
Kuririn
them
is
in this
similarly
environment at
humorous,
all.
inflicting his terrible singing on the rest of the group at a flower viewing party. As this movie came out in the spring, this is what people in
I love
Japan would be
Mom
doing
Bulma,
at the
though.
time, so it's appropriate. However, it gets a little too topical as Kame Sennin tells Kuririn he's Nipponichi, or the best in Japan. This is one of the more infamous examples of dialogue explicitly breaking the idea that this is its own fantasy world. Then again, he's drunk, so maybe he's just babbling nonsense. Okay, as always, let's talk timeline. Like with movie 6,
Okay,
Daizenshuu
it's
6
even
attempts to
weirder
slot
seeing
this in during the
Vegeta
days
in
of
his
peace leading up to the Cell games. Boy,
his
given
sand
2
armor
separate jaunts
under
into
a
outer space, not
sakura
to mention the
tree.
various filler
What the
adventures the
fuck?
animated series already adds, as well as the actual events the manga already establishes, and the fact that a handful of characters are supposed to be taking turns in the Room of Spirit and Time, that is one packed week and a half. Given that this movie presents character designs more in keeping with the latter half of the Cell arc, this one works slightly better in that context. At least Gohan can actually become a Super Saiyan in this movie, its first theatrical appearance. Trunks has long hair, Gohan has short hair. There are even a few instances where Goku's eyes take on the more rounded style of the so-called full power Super Saiyan, although I can't be sure whether or not that's intentional. However, that's also the main reason it doesn't
Definitely
work,
doesn't
as
look
Goku and Gohan
intentional.
are certainly not in the Super Saiyan state for the entirety of the movie, which is what they're supposed to be doing, if this takes place then. Gohan is still wearing the junior version of Piccolo's outfit, and he looks slightly younger, more like how he does when he's training in the Room of Spirit and Time, as opposed
Hayden saying, "I like how much these feel like fanfics." That's always how these tie-in movies to stuff end up feeling, because technically they are. Like, they are just like writers who like the material writing fan fiction about the characters, because they're not written by the original manga author, so they're usually non-canon. I saw you through the camera.
It's me, my best friend. No, not best friend. That's right. But my friend who plays Overwatch with me, Kale, has gone to bed.
Good night, Kale. How are you doing?
I'm a guy on his day off who is just here to be secondhand on a stream, which I seem to be very good at.
You are a good secondhand on the stream. Although I have to finish watching this Dragon Ball video before I can start talking to you. It's almost over. I only got 2 minutes left. It's about the first Brawly movie, which I've never seen, but seems somewhat interesting, but also very baffling.
to when he exits. I don't even know why the Daizenshuu kept bothering trying to force these in. It's just a movie like all the other movies. But this one is very clearly a late Cell arc.
Dickinson Post, there are a lot more canon anime movies being made where they just like tell part of the story with the movies. I think that is more because they've realized that it's a way higher turnover on investment to make a movie that they make. Like, they just make a lot more money off of people actually having to pay for ticket sales than being able to watch it on TV for free, especially when like DVDs don't really sell and Blu-rays don't sell the way they used to. So like streaming ad revenue is not going to compare to theater revenue. So if they have a hit where they think like people will definitely come to the theater to watch Jujutsu Kaisen or My Hero Academia or I don't actually know if the My Hero ones are canon, but I know that the
Kaisen has been in theaters.
huh?
Do you think that Jujutsu Kaisen has been in theaters?
Yeah, Zero, the movie.
That was in theaters.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Every anime movie is in theaters in Japan.
I think it's a silly comparison when Demon Slayer exists. I guess that's my biggest problem with it.
What do you mean by that?
Demon Slayer sucks.
Okay. I'm just talking about what stuff is canon or not. Like, because it used to be that almost every anime movie tie-in was non-canon fan fiction, but now there are a lot of like Made in Abyss and stuff where like they just do an arc as a movie because it will make more money than doing it as a season. And you know, it gives them more control over the
That's
timing and
fair.
pacing and shit like
I'm
that.
too drunk to have opinions about this.
All right, I'm gonna finish this Dragon Ball video.
movie. The music here is great, and several pieces serve as the backbone to the score from the end of the Cell arc all the way to the end of the series. The ending theme, Burning Fight, is one of the few movie ending themes I actually tend to remember. I guess a large part of that is due to another of my earlier Dragon Ball memories being a music video Ginga Giri Giri's Castor Troy had set to that song. Ooh, another early 2000s Dragon Ball fan page reference. One more of those and I get a cheese platter. However, to me, its refrain of Burning Fight never really sounded like that. Sounds more like... So that, finally, is Dragon Ball Z Movie 8. I
don't know that was Don Knotts, right? Like, I remember him from like Scooby-Doo episodes. I don't remember his voice well enough to, I guess, know if that really sounded like Don Knotts.
I had no idea this would go on for so long. They're really...
I have seen Cardcaptor movie too, Lucario. I watched it for the Cardcaptor video, the Cardcaptor retrospective video.
Has a surprising amount to say about this movie, and I still think I could say more. For better or worse, this won't be the last time we'll be talking about Broly, so I'll get more chances. It is interesting that both this movie and last year's Broly redo movie both followed the least creative, most formulaic movies of their respective eras, and as such, couldn't help but look significantly better by comparison. But leaving it at that is selling this a bit short. While this film does stumble quite a bit in its attempts at storytelling, it is at least attempting to tell a story. There is certainly a lot of effort on display, and much of it succeeds. Its strong characterization and relatively deep interpersonal conflict make its failings much easier to forgive. And the legacy of this movie is perhaps more far-reaching than any other Dragon Ball movie. That's a pretty impressive feat for a broccoli and an asparagus. So while I wouldn't necessarily agree with PlanetNomic.com's ratings that this is one of the better movies of the franchise, it's definitely better than I gave it credit for. Next time, we return to our look at the Cell arc. And even though the Cell games are beginning to wrap up, there's still a lot more to cover, so while next time is part 17, I don't think I'm going to be able to quite finish up in that episode. But I don't think it'll be more than 2. I guess we'll find out together. See you there!
Next time on Dragon Ball Z. All right, we did it, gang. We watched a whole Dragon Ball video for like a while, and now we're done doing that. Now we live in a new reality. It doesn't involve Dragon Ball, and I don't know what that reality is yet. It's got Clamp Saber in it. I know that. Gary, I don't even think the problem with those jokes was the lack of personality. It's that he's not on screen. And like they're the same type of humor as Nostalgia Critic jokes, but like I can imagine Nostalgia Critic telling those exact same jokes, but I can also picture the facial expression he'd be making while he made those jokes. And that would be the funny part. It would be saying something dumb, but doing it in such a like Cell way where it's like, yeah, I know exactly how dumb I'm being, you know? I also agree with you. Nostalgia Critic is not that funny, so it's not like a high. It's weird watching someone and thinking, "Wow, this makes me appreciate the Nostalgia Critic," you know. But the last time somebody paid me to watch a Nostalgia Critic video, it was surprisingly pretty good, and I remember laughing at a couple of the jokes because of the way that he sold them. You know, I definitely think his imitators are worse than he is, and that's unfortunate because he's kind of mid. Yeah, all of this stuff. The line work on the skirt here is really gorgeous, and the gauntlet. What else is cool? Tell me about cool things. What are some cool things? Is AVGN also mid in my opinion? I like AVGN a lot more than Nostalgia Critic because I feel like he put a lot more thought into his content and effort. Not always for the best, like he probably put too much effort in, but like he did a lot of really high concept shit that I always appreciated. You know, his writing was always really good. His wordplay is always clever. His, you know, like I like when he puts a lot of effort in some cases. There are some videos of his that other people don't like because they're like, oh, this is too different or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know. I think it works also. It's not always like batting 1,000 or whatever, you know, but AVGN also was like so far ahead of the curve that it's hard to even like compare him to other creators because it's like without this guy, this whole category of video wouldn't exist, you know, like there was not funny internet critic before him. He invented it whole cloth, the idea of it, you know. Nostalgia Critic was copying him. The two of them worked together. Then everybody started copying them because they wanted to be able to work with them. That it created this domino effect of now everybody's trying to do this. And by the time you get to JonTron and Egoraptor, who both were directly, second generation influenced by that dude, that's when you're getting to me, that's when you're creating, that's when I'm going, hey, I also grew up with AVGN. What? You guys are making money copying that guy? Fuck. I should start copying AVGN right away, but like by that point, AVGN was 10 years old. It wasn't like a fresh new thing that I'm trying to copy. I was trying to copy Egoraptor, so I understood that both of us were copying AVGN at the source, but Egoraptor had transformed it enough through being enough of his own creative person that I could have both of those influences, as like two different forms of this chain of creativity that I'm building onto with my own originality. And plenty of other people did too. And I'll also throw in Red Letter Media as one of the very influential ones. And I don't know that they were like influenced by AVGN in the sense of being fans or watching his content, but they certainly knew he existed and that there were avenues to share funny, caustic internet reviews on the internet, So like, again, he really opened the door for any of this to be there. So I can never praise him enough for that. Like in the same sense of like, whether or not you think that Super Mario Brothers is a fun video game to play today, some people think it is, some people think it's not. A lot of young people are not going to go back and play Super Mario Brothers, but some of them are. I've seen very young people playing Super Mario Brothers, the original. But that's like what I would compare AVGN to. He is the Super Mario Brothers of 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 YouTube, and of YouTube funny YouTube critics, YouTube critics that throw a few jokes in. And I guess that would make a nostalgia critic like what? I don't want to call him the Zelda. What's like something that's really popular but kind of mid-pack, that's been around almost as long as Mario? I won't even call it kind of mid-pack, but he's the Mega Man. He's like, if AVGN is the Mario, then nostalgia critics the Mega Man of making funny videos about games. Sonic would come later. Sonic would be second gen. That would be like the JonTron, or JonTron would be the Sonic. That would be, like Egoraptor would be the like. We have to stay in the realm of platformers here, right? So, like what's a like Super Nintendo or Genesis? I guess it wouldn't be another Genesis one other than Sonic. Like following Mario. Well, maybe Egoraptor would be Zelda. Yeah, he'd be the Zelda. Or the Metroid, yeah. Yeah, because he's trans. He's secretly trans, so he's the Metroid of... secretly, even to himself, he is trans. So therefore, he is the Metroid of... I don't know why I'm fucking stretching this analogy so far. That's going to be on my tombstone. I don't know why I stretched this analogy. So I don't know why I keep torturing this analogy. That's what it's going to say on my tombstone, I think. I don't know who Ryan Garcia is. This guy's videos are always interesting, but the Kanye of boxing, I don't... What else have you made recently? Anything I haven't seen? Not too long. No, we'll get back to that. Oh yeah, I remember what I wanted to do. If nobody has any requests for me, I saw some of the Folding Ideas video. I kind of had it like playing while I was getting ready for a stream, and I kept leaving the room and coming back, so I wasn't really paying attention. I don't know. It didn't seem particularly interesting to me. I have my own feelings about James Rolfe, whom I will remind you I've met, and also me and Bird got engaged during his concert performing as Rex Viper at Too Many Games in 2021. Yeah. So, like, to me, like, my perspective on James Rolfe is just too different for me to like really care about other people's perspective on him. Like, I could make a more interesting video about the guy, I think, but I also don't want to, because I appreciate both why like Folding Ideas probably, and like people have taken that as like not an attack video, but I also appreciate why people think it's kind of like low key an attack video. Hello? What? Act video? Oh, I said attack video. What you doing? What's up? You require what? You require my assistance with what? Bird is requiring assistance. Okay, I guess I'll play a video for you all where I go assist Bird. I don't know what he needs assistance with. I'll put on this Lily Orchard reaction video, I guess. Alright, I'm going to come up there and assist you now. If I'm not back by the time this video ends, don't wait.
also there. But if I could
Why
shift
is there
gears
a
away
whole
from
different
Avatar
like
for
character? Did Lily change character? Whoa.
often, and then you have Mako and Bolin, who are also there. But if I could shift gears away from Avatar for a minute, I'd like to highlight one example of a sibling relationship that I think is not only great, but should serve as a fucking model for writing them. Lily, are you really citing Digimon as a model for anything but corporate cash grabs? Shut your fucking face hole, voice in my head. Digimon is actually capable of some really emotionally moving storytelling when it wants to. And its
Very
writing,
nostalgia
while awkward
critic.
as sin, was a lot better than I ever gave it credit for. I mean, it had both a tomboy and a girly girl on the main cast and gave them both equal billing and made them equally valuable to the group without slinging unnecessary mud at one or the other. For 1999,
You ever heard
that
of
wasn't
Power
just
Rangers?
good. That was fucking unheard of. And the way this show wrote Tai
No, it
and Kari
wasn't.
was fucking astounding because it's not just good, it highlights both how one's experiences informs their approach to their relationships and how the both of them grow as people.
Not
Tai
app,
and Kari
save
are
that
like
for
water
tomorrow. I'm
and
going to
war
bed
water.
after
They
this
stick
one.
together through damn near everything. But because Tai is a lot older, he's extremely protective of Kari. Okay, Lily, we're back on the older brother thing. When does the PTSD come in? He almost killed her once. Yeah, that shut you up real fucking fast. When Tai was a kid, he almost got Kari killed by taking her out to play soccer when she was sick, because Tai, being 8, was so focused on soccer, he
First words out of her mouth.
Ty, I'm sorry I can't kick the ball very good. You'll probably never want to play with me again.
This all comes to a head in an episode where Kari gets sick again and Ty's running all over Hell's Half Acre looking for medicine, which is where all this is laid out. Ironically, you see how much Ty is fizzing on an adrenaline high by the fact that Kari ultimately ends up being okay after some rest, as she's already up and walking around when Ty gets back. Now, this is where things get weird.
Oh God, Lily, you're not about to bring up that interview again, are you?
No. See, Kari's characterized by Tai as this selfless person who is always worried about the other kids and has the self-preservation instinct of Stockton Rush, reincarnated as a dodo bird. But in the Kari's actual issue is that she idolizes her brother to a level just short of lunacy, and what she's actually doing in the flashback is apologizing for disappointing him. There's an episode in the sequel series that is literally just about the way Kari devalues herself and waits for Tai to save her when she's in trouble, and even gets called out on it. But in the dub, because this side of Kari has been excised, it's about her own self-confidence. So the two of them are enmeshed to a degree, and both their character arcs is about
Enmeshed.
stabilizing that enmeshment. Kari becomes less dependent, but Tai
Enmeshment.
accepts that Kari isn't going to be killed if he looks the other way again. But the affection the two have for each other is never lost with that character arc. It stays there even 15 years, multiple writers, and an animation downgrade later. As older teenagers and adults, they're in much healthier places, but they're still the best of friends. Even before this point, the two of them are just adorable. Ever seen the movie? The both of them are little BBs, and they're so close, Tai can understand Kari's whistling, to the point that Kari mostly sticks to the whistle with him.
I know what we can do. Let's use it as a soccer ball. You're right, it probably wouldn't bounce that high. Well, now that it's here, how do we get rid of it? We can't keep it. Where's it gonna sleep? Oh no, not in my
It's so
bed.
fucking adorable.
Fine, then it sleeps on the couch.
Armon, what are you anyway? I'm a Digimon, short for digital monster. I'm from the digital world.
How come
Shout
you
out
don't whistle
Mamoru
at me?
Hosoda.
Only whistle at me.
This is a concept known as enmeshment, where typical boundaries in a familiar
I didn't know this was like a thing in like psychology or whatever.
relationship are slowly worn away, and the two people involved become increasingly entangled with one another. The degree to which this is a problem tends to differ from culture to culture. Some places you're expected to drop everything when family needs you, and in other places, if you tell your sibling "I love you" past the age of 12, people look at you funny. Enmeshment exists on a scale, but most people who hear about it only really hear about it when it reaches the point where the siblings literally cannot exist without one another. And most stories about enmeshment usually end up going that route as well, along with the other thing. This is where people get skittish about sibling relationships depicted in art. The thing about an escalating issue like this is that by its very nature, it only gets worse over time. That's what the danger of enmeshment is. But if it stays where it is and is stable and isn't getting worse, then there really isn't an issue. I don't like getting into the murky area of psychology because I never actually finished my degree, and people who use psychology major as a way to presume authority annoy me, but fiction and reality are not as separate as the shouty guy on Twitter likes to believe, so I have to. And enmeshment is the reason people get a bug up their ass about siblings in art and in reality being too close. And of course, if a pair of siblings in a work are affectionate with each other, the fetishists smell blood and come running. And it's not that there aren't siblings with deeply close relationships out there who have perfectly healthy lives, but they're often made to feel like something is wrong with them. I actually started writing stories about deeply close siblings in 2024, the first of which was a series of shorts about Kira Morgan and her mute older sister Iris. The two of them are best friends, deeply affectionate with one another.
Definitely seems
Kira can
like a
understand
bit of a
Iris on a level
fixation.
nobody else can, and they live together practically their entire lives. Iris adores her sister, and when Kira gets married, she adores her wife as well. It's all very cute as they emotionally support each other through everything. And it was branded as emotional incest by the deranged fucks who stalk my every move within a day because they cuddled and told each other they loved each other. But that's par for the course for this crowd that tails me like a pack of vaguely confused ducklings. Each other, they loved each other. But that's
Yes, it is my sister saying an incest comic is hot. Yes, I am creeped out.
par for the course for this crowd that tails me like a pack of vaguely confused ducklings. But the thing that I found really interesting was the replies filled with people talking about how it had tugged at a heartstring they didn't know they had. One person said it resonated with them as someone who also cuddled with their sibling. A few others matched that sentiment, and others even said they had to call their siblings after reading it just to tell them they loved them. Someone's brother was probably
I know I've gone over 5 minutes, but I'm this is the fascinating part actually for
getting an
me.
unusual call that day. Sorry if you thought your sister was dying, dude. But it made me realize that while rather suspicious people are quick to scream too close if siblings don't hate each other, there's an underserved audience who would quite like to see sibling relationships that are affectionate and close without it getting weird. Worse,
I think she just said really the whole point. She just wants to have a real sibling relationship that doesn't get sexual and weird. Because I guess she was denied that. Not sure. I'm going to leave y'all with this before I go to bed.
I just wanted some time with my brother. Hey, I'm doing my best to go straight and you still mistrust me? You're too good for your brother.
You've got it all wrong. I've always wanted a real brother relationship with you.
And melted, man.
Getting sentimental. All right, I'll the end of the segment.
okay,
but
now
I'm
that
really
that's
trying to
over
go
with,
to
I might
bed.
herself and waits for
Let's use it.
differ from
Where were
is
we around
Iris.
here?
The two of them are best proud. The tail are quick to scream too. Look, I'm going to say it right here. Unless you're fucking or you can't have any other meaningful connections with other people, then the truth is that whatever boundaries you have with your sibling are fine for you. But Lily, if siblings are cuddling and telling each other how much they mean to each other, that's a sign of something icky. Icky? What are you, 5? That's incesty. Do you want to have that conversation? Because I know you don't. I know you think partaking in that conversation at all is suspicious. Too late. You started it. Now you're going to lie in it. See, the thing about incest is that it doesn't actually emerge from supportive, loving relationships. You take two siblings who adore and cherish each other and who are also capable.
I'm going to do this thing, and you're going to think it's weird that I'm going to do this thing. And I'm going to acknowledge that you're going to think it's weird, this thing, but I'm going to do this thing because you shouldn't think it's weird.
Capable of having healthy relationships with other people, and the likelihood they're going to fall in love with each other is like 1%. Incest is predominantly abusive, and if it's not abusive, it's coercive, and if it's not coercive, it's codependent, and if it's not codependent, it's statistically irrelevant. A lot has to have gone wrong before a pair of siblings gets to this point. And the thing is, we all know this. Even people who aren't survivors of it know this. Even tacky books and terrible fetishistic visual novels know this. It's not like if you just spend too much time with someone, your brain snaps and tries to get you to rut onto them. What world are you living in where that's a real thing that happens? It just doesn't. Not at a scale anyone gives a shit about. But I'll tell you what does real damage: when you pass around this idea that cherishing your family is suspicious. That's the point where you're going to start messing with some poor kid's head whose only crime is wearing their heart on their sleeve and being full to bursting with affection. Some people are just like that. They feel things very strongly, and if they love someone, they love them a lot and want to shower that person in affection. And the only reason this is assumed to be romantic is because we're all taught that it is, but it has no basis in fact. And in fact, the belief itself is the only reason we believe love to be this way. And the thing is, there is a reason you believe this.
All right. So in all seriousness, like on everything she's arguing here, I agree. It's only like I mean, she basically said it herself, right? Like, methinks you protest too loudly. It's just like, it's, if you didn't have a weird relationship with your sibling and everyone knew it, this wouldn't seem weird. And you probably wouldn't be pointing out how weird it could seem to people if they didn't know that, you know? Like, I wish she would have taken the opposite approach and just leaned in and be like, "Hey, I had a weird relationship with my sibling. Here's what I would have liked it to be like," like, as opposed to like, my relationship was weird, so I like relationships that aren't weird, but that doesn't make it weird. Like the fact that I'm trying to escape the weirdness by liking these, and so if you're telling me that this is weird, then it helps. I can't define my border of what's weird. Anyway. You all waited for me, even though I told you not to. How moe? Ellen spent most of it kind of dissociated for the most part has pretty much been my week. So I feel you there. I'm getting called. Hello? What? Oh, okay. I'll be right back. Oh no, I don't have a drink now. Hold on. It's true, Ellen. I was doing pretty good at the Don't Drink Today challenge up until Bird showed up with some beers he picked up during his hour-long commute home through thunderstorms and handed me one, and I went, oh, this looks interesting, and cracked it open and started drinking, and then went, wait a minute. God damn it. And then Bird was like, I just thought you would like this beer. And I was like, I do, though. So, you know, I ended up drinking. I also picked up all this variety pack of cider mixed drink things at Walmart. And quite frankly, I'm an alcoholic, so drinking makes me happy. And stopping doesn't. So, you know. I listen to the voices sometimes and just let it go, drink another can of alcohol or something like that. What is this?
Welcome to the show at the end of the universe with your host, me, Slugman, with one arm. As plenty of you know, today marks the 90th galaxy destroyed by the mysterious, ominous void that's slowly making its way through the universe. Unexplainable force of chaos, destroying and upending lives without warning. But enough about my ex-wife. We've got a real show for you tonight, folks. To begin, an interview with only the hottest band right now in what's left of the universe, Cosmic Melody Overdrive. Jennifer, lead singer and guitarist, please tell us how your band met.
Well, I guess it began...
Please, Jen, we have a schedule.
Gary, are those like song lyrics or something, or are you just being incidentally poetic with your waxing about life?
Story?
Sort of. So, I guess it began in my hometown of Papopolis. The city was a thriving epicenter for music, dance, and everything pop. But as the void drew closer, suddenly this cultural metropolis felt a lot emptier. And as luck would have it, I was drafted.
Bob says, bro, where you been? I've been shitting on dicks in the Atlantic. Oh, up and down the coast. Everybody knows that's the hoe with the gold. That's OG, OK Cider in the piece, Slider with a G. Anyway.
By the galactic government to work as evacuation personnel.
Government, can those clowns in Space Congress?
Lucario, I only even know about this channel because this person paid for us to watch one of their animations like a week ago or so. And I think they're all I think it's like a bunch of older things they animated that they're uploading all at once right now to this new channel or something like that. But anyway, not app with $5 just asked a question. Does true anime need to be edgy to count as anime? On American anime blogs, people only talk about action Japan shows, but not Doraemon or Shin-chan. That is an interesting question. Because the definition of anime is so nebulous. And I talked about it, 10 years ago, and my opinions have changed a lot. Like, back then, the argument I made was, in Japan, anime is just short for animation, and they use it to describe all animation. There was never a rule in Japan that anime is Japanese anime. There are some people who feel that way, but not the common person. Like if you ask the average Japanese person about anime, they might tend towards thinking of Japanese stuff, but they don't consider there a clear delineation. Most people just don't know what country the shit they're watching comes from anyway. They usually see it dubbed into their own language and they're not thinking about it that much. So I think that, in Japan, it's not a clear-cut thing. And in the US, anime is definitively, originally it was definitively Japanese animation, but we only knew whatever got popular in the US. We didn't know the full breadth of what anime actually how much animation comes out of Japan. So our use of the word was mostly to describe a specific type of animation from Japan. But what that specific type is also hard to define. Edgy is a good word for it because, the only real definable difference between what gets popular in the West and what hasn't is kind of edginess. And I don't know, Shin-chan is kind of edgy, but in a very normie way. The English version of Shin-chan, I just don't think that the edginess it was on Adult Swim and they made it edgy in a more American way with the dub, but I just don't think the humor translated. I don't think it. I think the way Shin-chan is in Japan is edgy for children, and the way it is in America is way too edgy for children. So I think that's why it didn't translate. Even Doraemon is kind of edgy for children, but in that case, I think Doraemon is just too contemporary Japanese for it to be easy to have made English. The action stuff just translates better because it looks cool no matter what. Jujutsu Kaisen has episodes where there is barely dialogue, and there's just guys beating each other up. Fucking Dragon Ball Z translated across all languages, So Yellow Puss Red says anime equals everything made in Japan plus stuff that wouldn't exist if Japanese animation didn't due to inspiration. That seems to be where we're at right now in the US with the use of it. But at the same time, it is incredibly rare that you find an American who is English speaking more broadly, we'll say, an English speaking anime fan but especially United States anime fan who gives a fuck about Shin-chan at all. Like, or any of these like incredibly popular, incredibly relevant Japanese cartoons, because they are not like culturally relevant to us, even though we're fans. Even though like we'll watch literally all other anime, but like there's certain ones, and sometimes it's just the daunting nature of like how many episodes there are on top of the cultural difference, on top of it's not really made for adults. Like probably plenty of us would care about those shows if we had grown up with them, but we didn't, you know. So it's kind of hard to develop that emotional connection to these shows that, you know, for Japanese people they would have grown up seeing them. So it's just a different kind of you know, internalization of what the thing is. You know, I'm surprised they haven't tried to bring Detective Conan back to the West. Like, it wasn't super successful when it first came over here, but everybody who saw it remembered it, you know. Like, it's still a massive hit in Japan. It's still something that wouldn't be hard to translate. Like, surprised they never took a second swing at that, because I still think it could be a hit here, you know. But a lot of the times they're just not willing to take risks with it. So like, you know, some stuff is just like it's never been marketed. They've never tried. Maybe it would have been. Gary, I don't think it was very successful because they only ever translated like 50 episodes. Like they barely they didn't dub very much of it, and like they would just rerun it on Adult Swim for a while, and then it just kind of was gone. And you know, they didn't. I think they maybe brought it back like one time, but they've rarely has it been aired in the US. Compared to the fact that it has literally like 2,000 fucking episodes in Japan. So yeah, I think like shows like that, it's just like they came too late or like just the edginess is a different sensibility. It's like it's edgy enough for Japanese toddlers, but too edgy for American toddlers, but also it would only really affect you if you were watching it as a toddler, you know. So it's kind of like hard to breach that. So I do think stuff aimed at teens and older almost inevitably will get more popular, because that's the age when you're likely to finally get exposed to that stuff. It's just not being marketed to American children. But stuff influenced by anime very much is. And now we're in this period where you have Steven Universe, that's one of the most obviously and thoroughly anime inspired things ever, that was a massive hit across generations, unfucking believably influential. And like it's hard to even look at like independent art anymore and not see the influence of Steven Universe, the influence of all these different magical girl shows, Sailor Moon majorly, you know, the influence of Dragon Ball, the influence of Akira, the influence of Fooly Cooly, you know, and like that was what made Avatar so anime-esque, and people wanted to call that anime, but they weren't calling it anime themselves. And it wasn't long after I made that whole argument that like, oh, well, if it's from Japan, it's anime. Like the next year after that, Chinese co-productions suddenly ramped up, and now there's like fucking as many of those in a season as there are regular anime, and like people keep calling them anime because they call themselves anime pretty much. And then like you've got all these studios around the world just making stuff and calling it anime. Castlevania really was kind of like the one that broke the levee to me, where it was like Netflix just called it an original anime. Like that's what Netflix called it. So like, what are you going to go around telling people that's not anime when it's literally marketed as anime? Like, how do you fucking make that argument? It doesn't make sense. So yeah, by that point, I think it just became like, well, okay, I guess anything that is styled after anime can be anime, but like anime encompasses so many different styles that inevitably it will bleed into everything. So at some point, anime and a cartoon will become indistinguishable, and it's just because we live in a global culture now, you know, like there's too much traded influence. Nobody gets into animation and never learns anything about what's happening in another country, you know, like techniques are too traded. So I just think we're going to come to a point where anime is just the word we use to mean edgy cartoons. Yeah, it's going to be, it's either a cartoon, meaning it's like a Looney Tune, or it's going to be anime, meaning it's like Naruto. I could easily see that being the future for that word, if it's not already the present for that word in the way most people use it. If I play music owned by UMG or Sony, will it get the stream taken down? Probably yes. Those are the two groups that are most likely to get the stream taken down, yes, or any of their subsidiaries, of which there are many. Pretty much anything that's not independently owned, there's a good chance it's going to get me taken down. Because if it's not independently owned, it's probably owned by UMG or Sony. They own literally everything. I got that Dashy song I played last night stuck in my head now. And I'm worried about even playing that. I know I played it on stream. I haven't gotten blocked for it yet, I don't think. Let's see if I got a copyright for it. I had a stream from the other day that took like 2 days worth of editing shit out of it to get it to be visible again. Fucking powering up the power block. It's finally visible. I had to cut a lot of shit. It's like it's an hour and 22 minutes, and I'm like, I think this was like a 2-hour video originally. But whatever. I incur this upon myself. At least they're all visible right now. That's all that really matters. Okay, but did I get copy struck for playing this Dashy song that I want to play, though? It doesn't seem like it. If that was on this stream... No, here we go. Okay. So it made me eligible for revenue sharing. I don't know if I've already played anything in this video that would already cause that status. Not that it matters. Look, almost none of these get monetized. Somehow Umineko is the only one that got monetized. Thank God. Oh, and a gambler and a thrifter. That was a fun one. That was pure venting. Pure stress valve release. In the park, some weird secret park I found. Those of you on Twitter might not have seen a lot of these fucking live streams since I had to become a blue check to start streaming on Twitter again. Lucario, I don't think My Little Dashy is the same thing as Dashy. I don't know if that's... I don't know what that is, or maybe you're right, but I don't think Dashy's a musician. I played a song by them. I don't know if that's the same thing you're talking about, though. Bob, you still make YouTube videos? Are you doing something else? Yeah, we're doing it now. This is what I do. I do the live stream show. I take requests. People pay me $1 a minute to watch stuff, or $1 per 350 words to read stuff, or I don't know. They just send me random dollar amounts to do other shit sometimes, like go on a rant or whatever. Some of the best moments get clipped by viewers, and I put them in this nice little clips playlist. And that's pretty much all I've been doing lately. But I do have anime analysis videos over here on the We Watch Anime channel. But frankly, these have not really been popping off on the view counts. So I have not been as hastily cranking these out as I had been, because I make a lot more money doing live streams and just doing requests than I do making videos that get no views. So, the next one of these is in development. That one, Lucario Fan is editing. In fact, I believe there's like a minute-long preview that I keep forgetting to actually watch.
This video was paid for by my subscribers on Patreon, Substack, and backed by whose names you can see on screen right now. Thank you so much. this is anime that need live action adaptations. A lot of anime and manga really didn't need to be adapted into live action, and a lot more of them have been than most of you probably realize, going all the way back to the 50-episode Astro Boy TV show, which predated even the anime. Plenty of excellent manga adaptations have aired over the decades. The ever-popular reinterpretations of long-form romantic comedies and contemporary dramas on Japanese and Korean TV, for instance, and feature films from the Lone Wolf and Cub series of the 70s to the Rurouni Kenshin series of the 2010s. But there have also been a litany of horrid flops, which soured a lot of audiences to the entire idea of adapting anime and manga stories into live action. In the 90s and 2000s, audiences were still begging for a live-action Evangelion movie. No one yet knew how bad a live-action Cowboy Bebop could go. And some of my favorite manga adaptations, like Hideaki Anno's Cutie Honey film, were created. And nowadays, adaptations ranging massively in quality are becoming increasingly commonplace. From Netflix bringing us live-action takes on One Piece and Yu Yu Hakusho, to Hollywood having done the Battle Angel Alita and Detective Pikachu movies before COVID killed movies, all of those crazy-ass Takashi Miike anime adaptations over the last 20 years.
I didn't even know
and
about that
so
one.
much more.
That looks
But even
badass.
still, that's a drop in the bucket compared to all the anime and manga that exists, and I think there's plenty of exploitable intellectual property just
Something about you choosing to show Mahojin Guru Guru when I'm talking about all of the exploitable intellectual property that can be turned into live action, because that's not one of the ones I mentioned, but when you put that thought into my head, I immediately had to laugh. It could probably work.
waiting to be reinvented out there.
Engage to the unidentified and Magic Knight Rayearth. Yeah, okay. These I assume these are your pitches. These are the ones that if you were making this video, these would have been your choices, right?
So here's my list of demands.
All right, I like it. That was perfect. No notes. You can tell it was edited by Lucario when all the cutesy shows appear. Indeed. I always encourage my editors to slip in their own taste. Like, you got to show a little freak on the down low, in a way that people who know me well enough will go, Trixie didn't put Rayearth in there, That must have been Lucario. But yeah, no, that was pretty much exactly as it should be. Barakamon would be a hype live action. That's in the video. Maybe you already heard it. Maybe you already heard the full script. But I do talk about Barakamon in this script. So I agree. Lucario just wants to kiss a Mokona so badly. Which one? There's so many. I guess the specific one from Rayearth. Best of
ちょっと
Mokona.
遅くなったけどな。今から夏料理で宴会だ。八つ当たりだわ。八つ当たりだ。自分のちょっと持てないからって。ムキになっちゃってね。今日の夕飯
This all seems to be from Holic, though. Oh, this is a cute looking Mokona. Oh, I love her.
泣きながらうちにやってきたのね。
And those two are also goated.
泣いてません。一体何なんすかあの子は。
Alright, enough of this. Here we go. This is the right anime. Damn, Mokona just went for it. You did say you liked him to be a little perverted. Is this what led you? Did watching this as a kid, it was like that a straight line to Moetan? Like, is that how that happened? Like, this was the psychological seed that planted into the tree that is Moetan? Because I didn't know Mokona was jumping up their skirts in this show. I was watching this before I started streaming.
But at the same time, he also starts to have his Spider-Man 3 like symbiote taking over him arc, because Migi connecting to his heart made him more like Migi, as in his emotions and empathy. Again, the big thing that's supposed to separate humans and parasites, they are now far more suppressed. So while
You're right, Ellen. I was planning to show a movie today, but because nobody really expressed any particular interest in that, and also I figured I don't know how I'm going to show it. Like, I hadn't experimented very much yet with the what can I show big, what can I show small. I'm pretty sure I'd have to show it small, and I don't know how easy it is to get a hold of, or if people are going to care to bother, about something that's not like anime. So I'm going to hold off on that idea for now. I'm going to push off the movie night Monday. I don't think it'll do much for me. Like I had a couple of movies I thought I'd be interested in showing to people, but I don't think enough people will actually watch along with them to make it worth it. With Shimoon, I don't really make any money watching that show, but it's fun on a cultural level because I know that not only are there a handful of people actually watching it with me, but the videos will get some views in the long run. Like people will come back to do a Simone group watch with us. I'm hopeful that would happen for some of these movies, but I don't think that my audience has the innate giving a fuck about stuff that's not anime. So instead of doing that, I think what I'll do will just be to do like maybe OVA or like anime movie night, just stuff that's not live action that I think will be easier to convince people to watch and also easier to find. I still would love to show Funeral Parade of Roses. That's the one I had scheduled for next week. I was going to do Hedwig and the Angry Inch this week. And in retrospect, I think that will probably get copyright taken down. Funeral Parade of Roses, I think, is like on YouTube already. So it's easier to imagine getting away with that. But I want to give people more headway, like sell people on the movie first. I didn't even talk about these movies that I put on my schedule. So like, I'll wait till I get like a really popular stream, and then I'll sell people on all of us watching Funeral Parade of Roses. Then we'll do something like that. I'm always in such a clusterfuck mind state that I never remember to like. I will spend all day like coming up with every bullet point I'm gonna have to hit on my next stream, and then hit none of them. I've heard Dick Masterson talk about having this problem for a decade, so I should probably see it coming. But like typically I show up to the live stream, and then like as soon as I get a request, I focus on that and I forget about all the other shit, but like I do a lot of thought and planning about like what is the stream going to be and what am I going to show and how do I get people hyped up for stuff. And like I've already done a pretty poor job with Shimoon of like reminding people in between that it's going to be happening. Like, hey everybody, get your episodes together. Hey everybody, it's on 7:30 on Tuesday. Like you really got to like force it down people's throats to get them to like care and remember and stay on top of it. And I haven't done a good job of that because I'm too distracted by all my other thoughts that I'm always having. So, part of the method of this madness, the art of process here, is getting me used to having a schedule and promoting things and figuring out like how to do this kind of stuff. I have thought doing anime group watches would be an obviously good move for my career for like 8 years. And I've never thought I would be able to organize it because I'm so generally disorganized. But these live streams, I've managed to just do one every day by basically not caring about anything else and always thinking about what I'm going to be doing on my live stream. So that's made it a little easier to plan things and plan ahead and go like, well, I know I'm available at 7:30 on these couple of days. And even then, last time I was very close to late because Bird came home late and he wanted me to help cook a dinner. There was a moment where I was like, it's 10 minutes until 7:30. I'm going to the computer. I'm sorry. If you need any more help, you'll have to grab somebody else.
Oh,
but
yes,
I have to be on time. I cannot let this not be on time.
Does get a cool new haircut and has the ability to remain calm in crazy situations, and has powers like being able to recognize who the alpha group leader is and absolutely mog them because he's a Sigma. I gotta stop. Welcome to internet brain rot.
But while he has all that, he has lost his ability to cry. He can't even grieve the loss of his mother. Even his dad, who is taking the loss of his wife very hard, asks Shinichi, when did you get so strong? It's like you're made of iron. After Kana dies, Shinichi feels responsible and he wants to mourn her death, but he can't. And even though he'll have these moments where he feels things again, it literally physically hurts him, and he gets over it very quickly. By merging with Migi, the thing that made him human, his ability to feel, has gone, and no longer can he be part of boys who cry. And one of
Real quick, Bob asked any new animes I recommend. I will do that for super chats. Any amount. I'll give you some anime recommendations. But I am the master of recommendations, so I do not do that for free. They say if you're good at something, don't do it for free. I am the master of recommendations, so I cannot do it for free. Like on a moral, spiritual level.
of probably the most key moments of like showing how much he's changed.
Unless I am
Shinichi
divinely
finds a dog
inspired.
that is very close to passing on the street, and he brings them to a park, a more quiet place, because while Shinichi is losing his emotions, they're still kind of there. It's a gradual change. But after the dog passes, Shinichi throws it away in the trash. What? And he rightfully gets called out by his love interest and best girl, Murano. Write all the comments you want, you're wrong. You see, Murano plays a huge part in Shinichi's arc. She's sort of his rock, his constant reminder of who he is and thus his humanity. She liked Shinichi before all the powers and all these changes started happening. Him being a very dorky, nervous guy, she liked that about him, made her feel safe. And she loved that he was so altruistic, that he would always go so hard to help someone else, even if he was weaker. Basically the, I love Spider-Man, but I love Peter Parker more type beat. And throughout the entire show, she's constantly asking this question to him of, you are Shinichi Izumi, right? Because she knows him very well and can tell he's changing. And it's here that she sees he has really changed. As the Shinichi she knew would never throw a dog in the trash. And the fact that he was like, poor puppy, he's dead. It's not a puppy. Oh, a dead dog isn't a dog anymore. It's a dog-shaped lump of meat. Minus all the aura. There is no aura. Get rid of all the aura. You see, towards the beginning of the show, there was a scene at this exact same park where some boys at a sandbox were kind of messing with a cat, bearing it down and throwing rocks at it. First off, what the fuck? That's where we needed to hear Migi handle the defense. And during that time, Shinichi defended the cat and saved it and told those boys, animals are not toys. They're just like you. And Murano saw this, and you can tell she really likes Izumi for doing this kind of stuff. It's clear that here at this time, Shinichi had a respect for life outside of just humans, which is in stark contrast.
I'll be back. I'm gonna grab
to this.
another
Like, sure, he
vape, a
buries the
charger,
dog after, but he
and then
needed to be
if
told
nobody has any
off
requests for me, I'm
to
gonna
do
start
that.
playing
And I love
Bobo
how
Bay.
real and gradual this change of Izumi feels, because it's not just him changing because, you know, Migi's cells merging with his heart. It's also because of him consistently dealing with progressively more trauma that he's sort of becoming numb to it. Like early on, he was like really scared of bugs, right? But then once you see a fucking weird ass monster thing come out of your hand, it's kind of hard to be scared of bugs anymore. As that changed, he wasn't scared of bugs after that. Another kind of layer kind of showing this gradual change is seeing how Shinichi answers Murano each time that she asks him the question. At the very beginning, he's very much sure of himself and he says, yeah, yes I am. Nothing but complete honesty in his voice. Then after his transformation, when she asks him again, he answers first by saying he's not sure, but then plays it off kind of like a joke. It's like, of course I am. But you can kind of tell he's starting to slip a little. Eventually, it gets to a point where he is so angry and full of a rage, and he's acting not like himself, the way he's talking and everything. And Murano tries to tell him this, and she asks him the question again, and he yells at her and tells her to shut up. This is basically the Spider-Man 3, like in the bar moment. It's clear that all of these things are still affecting him, but because he can't express the full range of human emotions, the only thing he can do is keep bottling. And when you do that for so long, the only emotion left to come out is rage. It's okay, bud. And the other important question she asked that will come up later is when he's leaving town to go, find his dad and everything, and she asks him, will you come back? But all of this wraps up so beautifully with the climax of this arc, which is probably the most memorable scene of this entire series. So outside of Migi and Shinichi, the other probably most interesting character is Reiko. She's a parasite that also kind of goes on a similar arc as Migi. We'll kind of talk more about her towards the end of the video. She was a parasite who started the series much like any other parasite, not understanding human emotions or feeling them. But after having a human baby, she slowly starts to grow an interest in understanding humans and their emotions. And eventually, she learns to feel maternal love for her human baby. Much like Migi, she didn't understand the idea of altruism, but when she dies sacrificing herself for her human baby. She walks up to Shinichi, turning her face into his mom's to appeal to his emotions, and she dies protecting her baby. The baby cries, and Shinichi asks, "Are you sad?" And he says, of course you are. Your mom is dead. And then suddenly, all these emotions start hitting him. He thinks of his mother and her selfless acts to protect him. Then that question Murano asked starts to ring in his head. You'll come back, right? Now that question that was mostly a question of will you come back from this trip that you're going to go on, is now recontextualized as her asking him if the real Izumi, his emotions, will come back. And he finally recalls and processes all that trauma that's been built up. And he finally cries. And during the whole scene, they're playing the ending theme, which the ending theme is, it's the right time, because it's the right time for him to cry and gain back his emotion. Oh, it's so good! And just the whole context of it. The fact that the person who was able to help Shinichi regain his humanity and regain his emotions was a parasite who themselves didn't understand that at one point and had to learn that he went from being a very emotionally charged human being, then he started losing those emotions and empathy and began to be more rational and cold. And now after processing all of it, he has found his emotions. He has found his empathy again. And by the end, he's mastered both worlds. He is now in the middle of rational and emotional. Meanwhile, Migi started very cold and rational. Zero empathy, zero understanding of human emotions. Even saying that things like altruism and sympathy and empathy are things that his kind will never understand. But Migi also starts to change, mainly after episode 5. Shinichi's mom becomes a parasite, and then she literally pretty much kills him. It's really sad. But there's even moments before that where you can tell Migi, at the very least, has an interest in like human psychology. I mean, throughout the whole series, he's doing research and is always curious about humans, especially Shinichi, because he is so caring, so emotional, and so self-sacrificing. In an earlier episode,
am back.
Migi is actually offered by another parasite to come connect to them so they can have two basically parasites in one body. In every way, Migi would have been stronger if he did that. So by his own logic, it would make the most sense that he should do that. But he doesn't. He ends up eliminating that guy. Now, granted, when Shinichi asked him, like, were you saving me there? He basically says, like, I only did that because I wasn't 100% sure I could do that. You know, it's not like I like you or anything, Bach. But to me, this feels like the first time that Migi kind of starts to change. But of course, the main change is when he merges his cells with Shinichi's heart. While yes, this suppressed Shinichi's emotions, but because they're intermingling, I feel that Shinichi's emotions and big heart also affected Migi. He goes from never wanting to work with humans and being very self-interested to eventually working with Shinichi and actually going with his idea of not killing that detective that Migi wanted to kill at first. There's even a moment where he asks for Shinichi's trust, and you really start to see their dynamic and friendship grow. They even start to kind of joke around and have, banta. There's a point where Migi is trying to cheer Shinichi up, and when Shinichi asks, "Are you trying to cheer me up?" he doubles down. He says, "Yeah, and I'll do it again if I have to later." By connecting those cells, Shinichi becomes more rational. Migi starts to understand human emotions, which allows them to understand each other by literally starting to become each other. One of the most heartfelt moments of seeing that change in Migi is when that detective is like scolding Shinichi to become a lab rat, turn himself in and whatnot, basically being very cold and not empathetic at all. And it's Migi who has to tell this human, "Where's your pity?" And he starts to explain all these things that this high school teen is going through. Migi, a parasite, is the one telling a human to be more empathetic. It's clear that Migi has now learned to understand empathy for Shinichi. And of course, the climax of this is during the fight with Gato. After Migi and Shinichi split, Migi tells Shinichi to go, escape, leave it to him. In a sense, Migi sacrificed himself to give Shinichi the ability to escape. Altruism. He says he's thankful that he didn't take over Shinichi's brain because that's what allowed them to make memories and be friends. And then after that, we see Migi even be empathetic to his own kind. Again, at the beginning of the arc, Migi is very self-interested, even saying at the beginning that killing his own kind has no psychological effect on him. And then at the very end, he chooses not to finish off Gato because he's his own kind. And he feels in the human perspective, that would be murder. Both showing a growth of his empathy and his understanding of the human perspective. It's all a beautiful part of this series that emphasizes the themes of what it means to be human. And kind of just on a little bit of a personal note, I just love how this series wholeheartedly champions emotions.
If you like Parasite, you should read Astro Baby.
Feelings as core parts of the human experience.
It's a ripoff, but it's really good. Really fucking good. All right, y'all. I think it's time. I haven't gotten any requests. Ordinarily, this is the time where you think, "Oh, Trixie's just going to go to bed." But no. Bird already passed out drunk. So I don't got to worry about him begging me to come sleep. And I have been dying to get in some motherfucking Bobo Bay. So it's time for some fucking Bobo Bay. This alpha is sure a work in progress. I believe you. All right. Tuesday, spring, year 0. Year 0. The calendar has only begun now. Today with me. Let's see what kind of mail I got. Dear player, this alpha will end at the end of spring. It's summer now. Try to beat every race. Maybe they mean spring, like the end of in-game spring, right? Like if I reach the end of spring in-game, the alpha ends, I assume. Try to beat every race. I encourage you to wander and experiment. This game does not handhold you, but it is never punishing. New future kids. All right. Alright, where's a boba I can feed this fucking fruit to? Some more fruits around. Agility fruit. Looks like it's been here for a while. I guess this beach prevents them from spoiling. Oh, that's nice. It's like the opposite of the beach from old. Oh my god, this is so adorable. When you run around enough, you just start airplane moding. This is maybe the cutest thing I've ever seen. This kind of also happens in Sonic Adventure, but it's not like as intentionally that, you know. It's a really good expansion of the ideas of the original Chao Garden. Town under heavy construction. Like, you can't even walk around. Sorry. There's going to be a town? Well, that's neat. Not sure why we sell these. Shield. I can hand it to my Bobo. Let's bring back monocles. All right. Oh, what is this little... Are you a Bobo? Can I talk to you? He must be the shopkeeper. Kelp thrift. Because there were adult chows in Sonic, so I'm wondering if there's... Is there a way for me to make the cursor not visible for you guys? That's kind of obnoxious that it's like there's a cursor on my face from your perspective. I don't even see that from my perspective. Strange. Open the terminal. Maybe I will. Oh. 2nd of spring, year 0. Okay. I don't got any guys to race with yet. I guess I really got to go into the forest and get a Bobo. And then register him here and then start racing. The garden. Okay. Oh, right. You run into the waterfall to activate the challenge. Okay, let's go into the woods and get us a fucking Bobo, yeah? It's like catching Pokemans. There's a Bobo right there. Literally the first thing when you walk in is a Bobo. Oh, you can stat check them. You're a D-grade Bobo, you know that? Oh my god, look at him. I don't think they're as cute as Chows are, because they've got these weird, vacant, alien, humongous eyes, but they're pretty fucking adorable. Also, apparently I can just... you press the E button, you hold them up and smooch them, I guess. So here you go, Lucario. This is literally a game about smooching little mascots. I'm sure you will enjoy this. Alright. I guess I dropped him kind of hard because he looks dizzy. Whoops. Let's give him a fruit, see how he likes that. Looked positive. How do I pet him? Okay. Cute. I didn't mean to do that. Cute. Oh. Is that to like get their attention or something? There must be a way to pet him without making that happen. Also, let's turn off the tooltips. Oh, I didn't mean to exit the whole game. I thought I was just exiting the menu and saving. Shit. Let me go back. God damn it. I mean, Lucario, you can choose to interpret the kissing however you personally want, I guess. I wouldn't say that I would describe it as intentfully romantic, considering that I think I'm supposed to be raising these things. But, I mean, here's what it looks like. She's definitely making kissy face at it. He looks fucking adorable. This is the cutest fucking game. Okay. Let's give him some more fruits. Eat, Bobo, eat. All right. Let's go fucking register this fool so we can give him a name. Balthazar. I don't know why, it's just the first name that came into my head. Lucario, I do think that they can get to be like bigger. There's definitely different types of Bobos. I mean, in the original games in Sonic, you know, the Chows had an entire life cycle. They would be reborn several times, and if you did a really good job of raising them, they would be eventually incarnated as a Chaos Chow, which was like the ascended form. If you did a bad job taking care of them, they just fucking die. Oh wow, there's literally nothing more to this forest than this one room. I guess it is the alpha. They're truly just testing if this thing even functions at this point, probably. I wonder if, like, maybe another Bobo will appear on the next day. I don't know how I make days pass, or if they're literally real-time days. Oh, I can jump. I hadn't even tried. I hadn't even considered pressing the spacebar. That's a fucking high jump. It really is highly amusing how much of this game is like the logic is based in, well, you know, it's supposed to be Sonic, Chow Garden. So like the characters should kind of move like that and kind of the world should look like that and function like that. The logic is so baked into Sonic Adventure 2. But it's all been elaborated on in a way that like makes it feel more intentful than it originally was, you know? So let's take everything we liked about that and emphasize it just a little bit more, you know? Oh, did he just not want to eat? Oh, he's not hungry. Well, I should probably go put him in a race or something, right? I guess that's all I can really do. Go see how he competes. Gary, always, I'm with you. Why did I never know I needed a game with airplaning? It seems so obvious. It's one of those things you see it and you're like, oh yeah, of course. Do I need to put him down to open the terminal? I can't put him down in here. Where do I go while I'm holding the guy? Maybe I need to take him back to the podium. He's already registered. Oh wait, it seems if I can leave him there. Yeah, you just sit there for a minute while I punch you in here. Is that how this functions? How do I... How do I do it? It keeps giving me like an affirmative noise, but then nothing happens. Maybe I gotta put him here. Oh, I understand now. I get it. I had to think a little harder. All right, this looks fucking adorable. Actually reminds me a lot of Diddy Kong Racing. Like I'm expecting to hear the Diddy Kong Racing sound effects in my head. All right, I wonder if I have any input on this. Okay, I do. I can hype Bobo. But Bobo is killing it already. I don't think I'm going to need to hype him up. Oh, did it use some of his energy bar for me to switch camera just now? Or was that just him? No, okay, it's different perspective. Huh, why does it change the yellow bar when I change perspectives like that? That was weird. Oh, that wasn't even him winning. That was some other similar looking fucking Bobo. I literally thought my Bobo was destroying, and it turned out that it was just some other orange Bobo. Well, I'm glad that you're in love, Bobo, but we gotta win. We gotta try this again. We messed up. Okay, so I have to open the terminal to actually make that appear. Which means I have to put... So, the way this works is you have to put the Bobo down on the pedestal, then come over to the terminal, select your race. Oh, I already like failed, so I'm out, or what? You only get one chance? Or maybe I placed and so that's it? All you had to do is place? I guess all I had to do was place. So then you take the Bobo back off the pedestal, put it on this pedestal, and now you can go through. That seems a little bit elaborate. All right, let's see how he does this time. Let's go, Balthazar. I'm hyping your ass this time. Yeah, you're slower than fuck. I don't know how I thought you were good. That blue dude is dominating this shit. Come on, Balthazar. Surely. You got a little more gumption. Oh, come on. Hype, 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 hype. Yes, you got this. Come on. While those other guys are shitting ass. No, I hyped him too much. I killed him. The pressure's too high. No, I killed him by hyping him too much. You got this, Balthazar. Come on, stop tripping. No, they're all off the bar. Oh, you're so fucked. You're cooked. You're done. You're completely fucked. Oh, what a traumatic finish. Whatever. I guess it doesn't really matter. Now he's pooped and sleepy. Alright, we gotta take you to bed. He's cranky. Where do they go to sleep? They just sleep on the ground in the fucking zoo? There you go. Alright, well, he's asleep. Let's see if we can find another one, yeah? Maybe now that I've done some races, they'll let me have another Bobo. Maybe he can redo the races like in another day or something. Yeah, I mean, it feels like there's not going to be much I can do if I only have one Bobo at a time, and I have a limited amount of times I can feed him or race with him before he gets tired. So it's kind of like a fuck around space of time here. We go back to the shop. I'll wait for my baby to sleep. Okay, fresh produce. We already got plenty of fucking fruit on the garden. Let's buy him a cool ass shield or some shit. Yeah, hell yeah. Hell the fuck yeah. Where did it go? Do I just like have it in an inventory somewhere? Will it pop out of me when I go like in Sonic? Yep, there it goes. Alright. I want to give the little shield to the little guy. He's still asleep. Well, I'm not going to bother him. Then he'll be cranky. Maybe I can sleep. Oh yeah, that's right. You can sleep at the house. Maybe if I sleep, he'll have slept too. And you can sleep in this hammock. Wowie zowie. All right, let's see if that. Yeah, all right, cool. There's a mechanic for just taking a nap with the baby. I appreciate that. Because there was no mechanic like that in Sonic Adventure 2. You would have just had to sit around and wait for your child to be ready. Will he equip it? It's on his back. Oh, he's got a little shield on his back like Link. Oh my god, he's having such a good time. He's doing a little dance. One problem I have with these Bobos so far, and maybe this is just an alpha thing, is that they don't really make any noises, it seems like. Like, the chow noises were the cutest part to me. The, they kind of make Maria noises, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. And they sing little songs. La, 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 la. We need that. I need the Bobo to sing to me like a chow. This is the only thing that will help me cope with the with my shared trait with 1 in 5 women of not being able to have a baby. Baby's first steps. Come on down to the competition center. We got to begin a race for your newly registered Bobo. Every race is free to enter. Wow. Biscuit you Mathers. Is that just the one I already did, though? That he's talking about? Will I be able to do it again now that I've slept? Oh, did sleeping advance me a day, actually? I hadn't thought about that. That sleeping probably just puts you up on the next day. More mail. Okay, that one fell on top of the treasure chest. Make sure to cheer on your Bobos to give them a boost during the race. Don't use it too much, though. Wow. Wow. I want that letter. Give me that. Give me that fucking letter. There we go. Dear Miss Biggs. I guess I'm Miss Biggs. Like Biggs the cat? Like, am I related to Biggs the cat somehow? Am I Biggs the cat's daughter? Or like, did Biggs the cat marry that fish and I'm a fish people? Anyway, Miss Biggs, don't forget you can bring multiple Bobos with you to the town by snapping your fingers to make them follow you. Oh, so the snapping is to make them follow me, and then they'll follow me to town. That's adorable. Okay. Multiple Bobos. Does that mean that there's going to be another one in here because I slept? Bobos, Bob. Ah, Green Bobo! Let's go. Hey, look at him. He's so adorable. You look just like the other Bobo, except you're green. Alright, I don't know how many Bobos I could actually handle taking care of at the same time. How many Bobos can I truly show love and affection to in equal measure before any of them feels like they're losing out? Like, I wish mom didn't have so many fucking Bobos, you know? Because I'm grasping at straws for attention now from all my Bobo brethren. Can I pick up this fucking soccer? There we go. Can I kick this fucking soccer ball? I cannot seem to kick the fucking soccer ball. Whatever. Maybe if I'm running and I know. Maybe they can kick the fucking soccer ball. What do you think about this, Balthazar? He kicked it. That's cool. He was very quick on the kick. I gotta get some fruit for this fucking green one. Oh, he did make a little sound. He made almost like a cat noise. Okay, I guess I must have fed all of the fruit to my first guy. I thought I remembered there being fruit he wouldn't eat that was just around. Maybe he ate it while I was gone. All right, I can snap my fingers to make them follow me or something. Where are you guys? There you are. What happened to you? Why are you dizzy? Alright, come with me. Yes! Yes! Where the hell is Balthazar? You would think an orange infant would be pretty easy to spot. Hey, you don't have to keep following me for right now. I'm gonna find the other guy. There you are. Come on. Oh, she can talk too. Adorable. Okay. Balthazar, are you there? Okay, let's go. Yes, yes. Oh my god. I'm leading the Legion. Let's go. Is there like a walk button? Oh my god, I walked too fast and he tripped. There must be a way. I don't have a controller, so I can't like gently tilt the control stick. All right. Let's go. Let's go. Little babies, follow me. We're gonna get y'all some more food at the store. I don't know if you should really be walking around town, but I don't want to leave you by yourselves here. Well, there's more Bobos in town anyway, so, you know, maybe it's important for you to meet other Bobos. Not just be hanging out with a weird Frankenfish all the time. Alright, did they make it to town? They did. Alright, sick. Maybe they'll express interest in stuff. That'd be neat. They're so fucking cute. Following me around and shit. Dancing the little dances. Alright. Y'all get some ice cream and shit. Increase the swim stat a large amount. Alright. I have no money. Oh no, I spent all my money on that shield. How do I get more money? Do I gotta intern you guys into more races? Well, yes, we're going to the competition center, y'all. Alright, well this explains how it is that you get them here without picking them up. It's weird that you can't put them down in this room, but you can pick them up and also have them in this room. Alright, let's try the easy race again. Which one of you is going to do the race? Probably the one who's got a little bit of experience, and although his stats are overall lower, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know if he got any like experience boost from them. Well, look at that one dude with the fucking stripes. All right, we're pulling ahead. Balthazar, let's go. Oh, he's definitely improved. Uh-oh, but does he have swimming? I don't know if he's good at swimming. Not nearly as good as that yellow dude. Is he any good at climbing? Definitely not as good as that yellow dude. But he's still doing really good overall. Oh, he's just got to stay ahead of these fuck boys. Oh my god, there's so many walls. I thought this was like an easy race. Why are there so many walls? He doesn't have enough stamina for me to keep cheering him on. He's pulling ahead though. I'm impressed. I'm definitely impressed compared to the performance of yesterday. I feel like that nap caused his muscles to grow tremendously. Look, he even passed the yellow dude. Maybe he is better at climbing than yellow, just not as good at swimming. And now yellow's trapped behind those screws. Balthazar! Oh my god! You absolute hero! You Chad! You did it! Balthazar, I cannot believe the level of improvement. Look at how fucking happy he is. That was amazing. Okay. Good fucking job, dude. Right, you need to go back home and go to sleep. Can I just like will Green just stay there or will he okay, he'll come with me. Okay, you pass out. Lava milk increases every stat a good amount. Well, since he passed out, I guess you'll be drinking the lava milk, little guy. Okay, let's go register your ass. Anybody want to name this little green Bobo? Little green Bobo, little green Bobo. Mint. Could name it Mint, but I don't know if I want it to grow up to be a sex worker like my friend Mint. I don't know if that name curses you to such a... Well, I guess it's not really a curse. Actually, it'd be kind of cool to be able to do that job. It's a pretty easy way to make a lot of money. Nobody wants to pay me to take my clothes off, or else I would do it. But you find out pretty quickly if anybody wants that from you in life, you know? Typically, people are making offers. When nobody's making you offers, you know. There's no demand. There's no market demand. Maria, we could go with that, sure. Maria like the ocean. Maria, Maria. Okay, I can just put him down in here. I don't know why I had been under the impression I couldn't. Hey, little buddy. You're about to do some competitive racing. Maria, Maria. There's some really interesting patterns on some of these Bobos. Alright, the beginning's a good time to pull ahead. You dodged that rock. Whoa, that fucking blue guy is flying. Alright, there's no chance for beating him in a foot race, but you got everybody else eclipsed. For now. Alright, I like the corner cutting. They all kind of copied your example. It's interesting the path that they're taking. Like, that they would deliberately design a road and then have the Bobos not follow the road. Maybe it's just... Maybe he's brilliantly found the path of least resistance and everyone else is copying him. No! No, you got this, buddy. You got this. I believe in you. Maria, you can do it. That fucking blue one, like, blasted off 1 billion miles away. No idea what happened to that super fast blue Bobo. It's so hard for me not to call them chows. Like every single time I have to think about it for a second. Bobos. They're called Bobos. You got this, you cute little fucking monster. I believe in you. No, I clapped at the wrong moment. You can do it, Maria. Don't trip. Don't trip on that rock. Okay, you got it. You're still kind of dizzy. No, okay. Maria's not dizzy anymore. Oh, it's the finish line. Let's go. Let's gun for it. Just to smoke them extra hard. All right. So Chubbly really fucking just dominated that one. How chubnacious. Yeah, I'm not surprised that you are also now tired. But the good news is you made me a lot of money by winning or placing, you know, so it's looking like y'all will be able to eat. These things are fucking babies and they earn their own keep. They literally compete for the money to buy their own food and supply. They're like child actors. Okay, let's buy them some fucking food. Or child athletes for that matter, actually, now that I think about it. They are literally child athletes. Okay. Let's get some of that fucking lava milk. Skyberry. Galaxy berry. Leaf berry. And Goldena. Goldena? And then over here, there's another shield, and the monocle price went up. Oh, it's a mustache and monocle now. Bobos can't grow these naturally. That's cute. Can't afford it. But I don't think it'll take too long. Okay. When these Bobos wake up, they're going to be fed. And I'm probably going to end up with a third Bobo when I wake up, too. You know what? Fuck the hammock. Let's sleep in the goddamn teapot tonight. Have I ever checked out what's over here? Doesn't seem like anything is over here. These logs with this, like... I'm wondering, like, what is the idea? Is it just for, like, item organization? Or, like, can you put Bobos there and they'll just, like, sit? Or what? Alright. A new day. Dawn of Thursday the 4th. I think I passed the first day just because, like, when I started the game, I immediately hit sleep, not knowing what it did. Dear Miss Biggs, your Bobo sleeping too much? Bobos get really tired the day after a competition and when they run out of stamina in the competition. Ah, I see. So if you don't run out of stamina, they're not as likely to be tired, I guess. Hey, Par, you better be petting your Bobos and feeding them. Otherwise, they're going to be really mad. Love, Sis. Yeah, I bet. So I guess my name is Par Biggs, right? Par Biggs? Interesting name. Difficulty stars. The stars listed on the competition signify the difficulty of that competition. More stars equals higher stat Bobos. Wow. Wow. All right, let's fucking see if we're about to meet a third Bobo. Oh, it's another green Bobo, but with yellow. Ah, it's so cute. What a good Bobo. You know, I feel a sense of responsibility to go into the forest and take whatever Bobos I find. Will this eventually overwhelm me with how many Bobos I've got? Probably. But hey, that's just the life of a Bobo daycare keeper. Of a Bobo specialist. A Bobo scientist, you might even say. Alright, the new one's getting the muscle milk because it's got to get caught up to his brethren. Did you get bullied by that other Bobo just now? Looked like he walked up to you, and then when he walked away, you were confused. What's going on? Y'all having little Bobo conversations? Oh my god, they're having little Bobo conversations. Okay. Swim and stamina stats a good amount. Let's give that to our flagship guy. Because he was doing decently at swimming, but he's still kind of getting stomped on. Look how fucking happy he is just to be alive. Bobos are magical creatures. Didn't mean to pick you up. Meant to pet you. There we go. Sweet little guy. Alright. Let's feed the rest of this fruit to the other one, yeah? Give him crazy more swim. Or the other... I don't know. They're all guys as far as I'm concerned, because they're just little guys, you know? Regardless of whatever I might name them. Increase the stamina stat. Alright. I think Balthazar had even less stamina than Maria did. And we'll give this last one to... Well, actually... Yeah, because Maria got creamed at running, so let's get that run stat up. Okay, my warriors are fed. Let's go fucking destroy some other Bobos in the racing competition. Oh, hey, there's less expensive stuff for sale today. There's a beanie. This would make it so that, because Maria and Balthazar kind of have the same head shape, it would be nice to give... Which one would look cuter in the beanie? It's hard to say. I should probably buy all the food and feed it to them before the competition, right? A tiny increase in all stats. Small increase in every stat. Stamina stat a large amount. Strength stat a large amount. Strength stat. And I'm guessing strength is the climbing stat. There you go, Maria. I also got to register this new one. Anybody want to come up with a name for this new one before I go to register it? Alright, Balthazar, you're getting a stamina increase. And then y'all are both getting a strength increase. If you lead it. Nope, he's full. She's also full. Well, maybe you'll take 2 stamina increases, new guy. I've had trouble at times with getting the camera to move while I'm moving, but I think it might just be because I'm using a trackpad and it's not always picking up my movement or something. I'm not sure. Good night, Ellen. I'll probably go to sleep too before too very long. I feel like I'm putting everyone to bed with my pleasant baby raising nothing game. Oh yeah, I forgot I needed to bring them with me. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to call it here because this is obviously an endless game that there's no real way to stop playing. I have experienced a tremendous amount of pleasantness. and I'm very happy. But ultimately, this is only an alpha, and I cannot go all the way, you know. Cool game, though. Free alpha. Do recommend. Is anybody still awake here? It says I have 297 viewers, but I know that's impossible. It's mostly Twitter bots. I'm not getting any answers. I'm going to assume literally everybody has passed out, and I am speaking to no one now, except for future VOD viewers who maybe made it somehow this far into the 3.5 hour video where I played Bobo Bay for the last hour of it. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Good night.